Updating. Updating. Let's get it popping. Alrighty. I should put Sunday 6 stream since someone's sick up in this motherfucker. Alrighty now. Let me just test audio to make sure you're good. Give me some words of advice.
Um, Good luck. Hmm. What else? Oh man. Okay. We got a lot of topics.
Yeah. Well, we could
Got some
condense
catching up
them.
to do.
We could condense them. That's the thing. We don't have to stay on that. We could condense them.
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, I think that's also the thing. Yeah, we'll do the topic, but we should try to come up with a maybe a window. Like maybe we should do like a set time window, like
Well,
a
so
minute window, like
that's
like
why,
maybe
like,
5, 10 minutes, 5, 10 minutes, 5, 10 minutes, like maybe 5,
no, I'm hip.
15,
So,
20, 25, 30, 35. So maybe 10, 20, 30,
so
40, 50, 60,
the
70.
so the two topics involving EVs are basically gonna be one,
Okay,
and
yeah.
then the last
Um,
two are just gonna
yeah.
be for shits and giggles, and then everything else is probably gonna be in depth. So that's why I did.
So
That's why I
10
did it
minutes,
like
10,
that.
10, 10.
You know what I'm saying? So the last two are gonna be like, just us talking. What we like and shit. The
Yeah.
EV subjects of it are gonna be rolled into one because it involves two aspects of the automotive, and then the the Chevy and Mustang topic is basically gonna be probably gonna be one roughly, and then so we're gonna start off with the Dodge topic. Since nothing's happening overseas besides all the
Mhm.
lineups for motorsports, so welcome guys, welcome again to that stream. I am your host, along with Sir Blackie over here, who is feeling under the weather, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. He's here grinding. He's here grinding. We're gonna
I
start off.
try.
We're gonna start off. Since the last stream we did, we basically took a week off because you were traveling, you were working, so you couldn't make it for Sunday and you couldn't make it for Thursday. So we're gonna
Then
call
I
that
got
a
sick.
week off type thing. So
Then I got sick. Yeah.
yeah, then you got sick, which is unfortunate. But last stream we talked about was a lot about engine failures from Cadillac, a bunch of other stuff, racing. So this time we're gonna roll right back to Dodge because from what I remember, the last time we talked about Dodge was they hired back Tim Kuniskis. I always forget how to say his name.
Mhm.
As far as
Oh,
the
Tim.
Ram
Yeah.
CEO, and now we
Yeah.
have word from the Dodge CEO saying there's a market for sub $30,000 Halo sports cars. And obviously, we can
Really?
see what the picture is right here.
Yeah, I'm about to see that.
Dodge
Mm.
Neon right here, Dodge Neon SRT4, which I have currently. My first car still have. So, what do you now? I remember us talking about what Dodge should do. What do you think if they were to try to tackle the small sports compact car market?
Dodge?
Yeah, Dodge. Because remember we
We did
talked
it
about how
before.
like they gotta build a car. They gotta build the new Hurricane has to have a car. It can't just go in any other car. They gotta build a new Hemi. We were talking about all that type of stuff last time. So, but what do you think of them trying to go back and tackle the small compact sports car like the Neon and the Caliper? Now they have the Hornet, but what do you think
My
about that?
opinion, my opinion for sure, they should have never left it. They should have never left the market. Um, Like think about it. When they came out with SRT4, I mean, it was prolific in a sense. Like it was legendary. Like you know what I mean, you had the hot hatches, you had the sport compact.
Hell, I
That
have it,
whole
so
market was booming.
yeah.
Exactly. You still have it. Like that car when it came out. I mean, everybody and their mama, I think, wanted one at one point. You know what I mean? It's like it was the first car to come out. It was crackling and popping. People think like these new young kids and stuff. Almost said something different. So only all these new young people think that the Beamers think, the Beamer crowd and all of them think they're the only cars that can crackle and pop. Or like even the Infinities now too with their little burble tunes and stuff.
Of course.
But no, Dodge was the first to do it with the SRT4. It made so much power. People used to make a metric ton of power, like a
I
metric,
mm,
a lot of.
I
I
agree to
say a lot
disagree.
for
I
the
agree to
platform. The platform.
fair,
You know what
fair,
I mean?
fair, fair.
Because like at the time, Hondas weren't really putting out as much
Hmm.
numbers yet. Until I mean, of course, today we know what the results are
It seems
today.
like
But
everyone forgot about the Evo then, if that's the case.
yeah, at one point, what I mean, so everybody just got one of those. They accepted this front wheel drive, and if you got it to hook, I mean, yeah, you hooked.
I think that was his biggest downfall.
Mhm.
I think they should have made, if this was to come out back then, what they should have done as far as the SRT lineup of things is they should have made an
Mhm.
RT version front wheel drive just like this. So this SRT4 should be like an RT, and the SRT should be all wheel drive. That's what I thought should have happened
I like that approach, but
back then.
it's just back then. Unfortunately, SRT was just like most performance cars. They were all just I'm not gonna say basic. You know what I mean? They didn't care to give us like how today they give us so many options on like a I mean not that we really have SRT anymore. I mean we have Hellcats and stuff. Or
Yeah.
let me use a different brand for example. Actually, and just not to go off topic, like AMG or something, or even M
Mm.
now. Like back then they were just rear-wheel drive specific cars or whatever. But now today, yeah, they're all-wheel drive. I would hope to see maybe Dodge go that route, like you said, because that would be epic. You know what I mean? That would have saved their ass
That would have
in
been
a
nice,
sense.
yeah.
Like I think people would have still bought the car, and I think you know what I mean. And then even with the caliber, I think if they still had that same formula, if it was all-wheel drive, it would still be a number one seller. Like it wouldn't be like oh yeah I bought this car, okay I don't want it. But it'd be like hey I'm keeping this car. It'd be
Well,
like another
the
Subaru competitor,
its biggest
Evo.
downfall. I agree with you. I agree with you on every part you said. And what I'll add to that is this: is its biggest downfall was what they were trying to tackle. I get it; they're trying to tackle the front wheel drive market. Okay, you could be the king of front wheel drive market for all you want, but
Mm-hmm.
for the people that put their time and money into it, they rather do it with a Civic because the parts are significantly cheaper. They were basically trying to
Yeah.
capitalize on that. That's why I said if they were to build this back then again, they should have built it all-wheel drive. And if they built it all-wheel drive, then you would have had a better clientele because now you have the Evo, now you have the WRX STI, and now you have the SRT4 that's all-wheel drive. You would have had a better competitive market. Like it's not like it's not like the engine's no slouch. I think it could have been better designed, in my opinion, because I have it, and there's some things that I'm like, oh, this is smart. Like this makes sense, and then there's some things in the engine I'm like,
Hmm.
why did you do that? Like, and if you look at the face values of well the face template, let's say, of let me reword this. If you look on top of the deck of the engine block, it is besides it being a semi-open deck design. If you look at the way the porting is, like a lot of four cylinders, they're identical, but that one is severely close to the 4G63. So it's not like why couldn't you like just build your own I guess 4G63, which that to me doesn't make any sense. If they were already near that road, they could just just edge out a little and just basically copy and paste like they did with the Hurricane motor, how they're trying to do the whole BMW thing.
BM.
Like it's like
I agree.
why didn't you do that? And their Dodge
I agree.
Viper, and your Dodge Viper, the V10 is loosely based off your truck engine. You just made it all aluminum. So if you're in the market of copy and paste, why not do that with that? You know, that's
Exactly.
that's what bothered me about the Neon, because I felt like the Neon could have reached to different levels of aftermarket support. The
Hmm.
the Achilles heel, I think it was the front wheel drive, and how cheap a lot of these Neon owners are, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because if you made it all wheel drive and raise the price, and you compare models, yeah, all right, it doesn't have World Rally pedigree, which will be their downfall. But if they entered World Rally and won, that would have been a different story versus the Subaru that was winning at the time, and the Audis and all that other stuff. But I don't know.
Hmm.
That's why I'm trying to.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to tackle mine differently. But
You know what's
whatever.
funny?
What's that?
Audi. Audi right now. You just said Audi, and then I just thought about the sport compact world, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I think they're the king right now with that RS5.
Really?
I mean, the RS3. Sorry,
The R3, yeah, it's killing it.
the RS3. I said RS5. I'm like, wait a minute. The RS5 is big now. The RS3. The RS3 is the baby one with the 5 cylinder front wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're killing it. They're killing it with that car.
Oh, of course.
That that car is like literally the ultimate like hatch to get right now. It's not even really the hatch. You can get it. You can get it in a hatch, right? Or you
Yeah,
can
you
get
get
it
a
in a sedan.
hatch, you get a sedan, and you get the TTRS. But
Hmm.
no, you're right. It's one of those cars where now that the Evo's gone, the WRX is kind of riding on his last limb. That's probably the only, besides the AMG, the A45 AMG. That's the only other car that is like, I would say,
I'm wondering.
fairly good aftermarket. Makes a ish ton of power. Hell, the company over there out west, IROS, is making those things sink to 1,500 horsepower, breaking records in the Audi world. So it's crazy what that 5 cylinder platform can do.
I wonder why. Like you said, they yeah, if everything was so close, they should have just copied it. I don't know why they didn't because it makes me wonder, like if most American brands had like a thing
Yeah,
about like if they had a like it seems like they always had a partnership with these foreign companies or other brands, but whenever they get their motors or their cars, they always change them and tweak them and try to you know make them unique, and then
like
it
the
ends up
Eagle
making it
Talon and
worse.
Plymouth Chaser, Plymouth Laser, whatever it's called.
Then it ends up making then sometimes it ends up making them worse sometimes because they're just like okay, maybe there's like an unnecessary weight here added, or like, there's unnecessary components here that are just in the way, and you're just like, okay, I gotta remove that.
Yeah,
I
I
noticed
mean
that about most Americans.
that is true, and it kind of sucks that that is happening, and I feel like his
They'll
downfall.
try.
I feel like his downfall was Dodge was cheap. Dodge wasn't doing much because that was the launch of the SRT brand. The only thing they really had to sell it was the Viper, and the Viper is built by the man that made his money off Ford himself, Carroll Shelby. Like that was the reason why the Viper existed anyway. It's because of Carroll Shelby. So the only real money they poured into was the Viper, and everything else they just like, oh, we have the Neon. We should try to turbocharge it, do this and that, and that's it. 2.4 liters, like 87.5 millimeter bore. I think it's like 100 and something millimeter stroke. The truck, the Dodge Ram, came with the V10. They're like, we're just gonna put the V10, we're just gonna shoehorn in there, which was cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, it just goes to show you like their selling point is to do as much with very little cost, very little R&D as possible. That's what that told me. Because if you get shocks and struts from an SRT, you could put them on a regular Neon. If you could swap the whole motor off from a SRT for into a regular Neon and no issues. It's like they literally like did very little, in my opinion. I'm not saying the engineers weren't doing their job. What I'm saying is the company did its job and put very little and try to sell a lot. The Viper they
Yeah.
sold, the Ram they sold, the Neon they sold, and they did a fairly good job, I would say, of that. But it missed a lot of value, like the Dodge Ram. No one really, I mean, people care about the Ram, but no one cares that it has that V10. People will care more that
Yeah,
it is in the Viper than it is in the Ram. And then
you are absolutely right.
the SRT4 Neon, which led to the caliper, which led to discontinuation. It just showed us that, all right, we could build a hot hatch or a compact sports car, and that's pretty much it. And they use the same arc. Like, it's so annoying because then the New World Motor Act came around with Mitsubishi and Dodge and all of them. That's why you got the 4B11, which is in the 4B12, which is in the Caliper, the 4B11T, which is in the Evo, the regular naturally aspirated 4B11, which is in the regular Lancer and all the older Caliper and all that stuff. Which, if you want to make a caliper all-wheel drive, you just swap the trans over, shave off a little bit of the starter bolt to fit the starter, put the all-wheel drive system in there, find a way to fit the rear diff, and that's it. That's how readily bolt-on an all-wheel drive caliper can be because of the new world motor agreement. So I just find it interesting how they're trying to go back to that, but I don't think they'll
They
be.
share the motor.
Yeah, they do. They should. Well, the
Oh,
design is the exact same, like to the point where you could
so
bolt the Evo 10 trans onto the Caliper SRT4.
see if they share motors, right? How come they didn't just say, "Hey, let's borrow your platform" at that point?
Because
Because I mean,
it was a new world engine agreement, so they got their own variants.
because I know, yeah, they used to share the 3.6 V8, which, believe it or not, the only thing I know is I know Dodge Chrysler, Jeep,
Mm-hmm.
Mitsubishi, Hyundai, Kia, all shared the previous four cylinder,
Yeah.
and then they shared the 3.8 V6,
Mm-hmm.
the MiVec, the MiVec V6.
Did they
Yeah,
really
those went
share
in the
it?
Caravan.
Is that why that is? I don't think the 3.8 is in the Wrangler though. The 3.8 is a different
No, no,
V6.
no.
Okay.
It was in the Caravan. They didn't go on anything
Oh,
else.
okay, 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 okay.
Then it was like I think it was like Dodgers like they made their own V6 after, and then Mitsubishi's kept letting Hyundai use it, which is why all those Hyundais have a 3.8.
True.
It's just Hyundai reworked them after a while.
That's true. But let's see. Let's see what this says. The Charger Daytona might be Dodge's newest model, but it also exemplifies a problem with the brand. It currently lacks affordable cars. And we talked about how they can make a big selling on affordable cars. The Hornet,
Mm-hmm.
which starts at a sub $33,000 for 2025, serves as an entry point into Dodge, which it is an entry point, but it's not like you're getting into Dodge and what it is.
The real Dodge.
You're just getting into the brand and that's it.
You're getting into a brand. That's it.
That's it. And will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. However, brand boss or Dodger CEO Mick Allier recently said in an interview that it feels there's a market for a sub $30,000 Halo sports car, which there always was. Don't get me wrong. I think, quote, start quotation, I think there's a market for people who just want to have that weekend car again, end quote, he told the Drive. Noting that not everyone can or wants to spend six figures on a sports car. That I think that we could all agree. Like no, like
Mm-hmm.
it's nice and it's nice that you guys are building these bat-ish crazy cars, but do we have six
Mm-hmm.
figures lying around? Like that type of
No,
money? No.
no.
He added that sometimes people want start quotation just a car end quotation. They that's all they want is just a car that's not packed with expensive technology. We're inclined to agree, which if Anthony Alliance, the editor of this post, agrees, and me and you agree,
A Dodge way.
I mean that should happen. And let
That's the
me
Dodge way of things.
if Dodge is seriously considering such a product, and there's no apparent indication that is true. There's no works of anything. Mick Allier told the publication that his future cars must be original, like the Viper. Carroll Shelby. It's unclear what the brand's next new model could be. Dodge, along with other Stellantis brands, are enjoying a bit more freedom now that former Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares is no longer in charge.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
none have provided concrete details about potential new products. I love how they say it must be original like the Viper, but nothing about that was Dodge. It was Carroll Shelby.
Mhm.
So I find that interesting.
I think personally, I
Before
think it's
you,
gonna take.
I don't want to cut you off, but before you, let me just read this last one, and then we could get into it. Back in August, before the head exec left, Carlos Tavares, Mick Allier told us that he wanted to continue to grow Dodge as an American performance brand. Nice. But added that it needs to be the right nameplates that are done in the Dodge manner that stand out in the sea of sameness. That I agree. He saw SRT as the brand's halo. Fair. I get that
Yeah.
100%. Which often comes with a high price tag. Yes, it did. So seeing how Dodge evolves as a lower end of the market will be interesting. I don't think that's the case, but I'll let you go, then I'll put my input on it.
All right. Couple things I'm gonna say real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ramble on real quick and then try to get out real quick.
Go for it.
Dodge's philosophy has always been take a platform, and I'm not gonna say that they do the best engineering, but they have decent platforms,
Yeah.
decent. They might handle all right,
Mm-hmm.
average, maybe slightly above average, might be slightly below average,
Mm-hmm.
and then they modify it to get it to within spec, and then they send it. So what they like to do is to shove the big engine in everything. Hey, whatever engine we got, can it fit in here? Or whatever motor we got, can we put it in here? I mean, same philosophy they did even in the '90s with the Wrangle RT and the Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited 5.9. They
Yes,
just
it did.
shoved the
The
biggest V8 they
was
did.
at the 5.9 Magnum, right?
They shoved the biggest V8 they could in their cars and just said, "Hey, here's what we got." And then they had like the SST Ram, which was like it wasn't an SRT, that was the SST back then. So then SRT, seeing how SRT evolved, I was going to rant on that real quick because SRT did evolve. It grew from nothing. They only had two models at first: the Viper
Yeah.
and the Neon.
Yeah.
Really, they had the Viper. Then they came out with the Neon
Mm-hmm.
because they were like, all right, we need to have a V10, and then we got a four cylinder. Then they added the SRT6, which is a Chrysler Crossfire with
Mercedes.
the Mercedes supercharged V6.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then they made the SRT8 lineup. At first, it was the SRT8 Trio. It was the Dodge Charger, but really the Chrysler 300, SRT8, the
Mm-hmm.
Dodge Charger, and then they had the Dodge Magnum. Then I believe the next year they gave us the Jeep SRT8. So then it went from a trio to a quad set. And then I think in '08 we got the Challenger. So then now you have five SRT8 models. So it's like they expanded the SRT lineup and specifically really the SRT8 lineup. They expanded that so much. And like you said, yeah, the SRT10 was legendary, but only people who know about the Ram care about it. But the people who don't, it's to them it's just another Ram with a V Viper engine in it. And some people just buy it like other cars and swap the engine out and take it and put in something different. Or
Like you did.
or they'll just or they'll send the truck and beat the truck until it blows up and then be like, that's it was fun. So like yeah, the Viper engine in that Ram almost did it a disservice. Like, almost disrespected the Viper in a sense. Like it was respected the legendary because it was the fastest production truck and for a while until I believe the T Rex and the new Raptor are.
Mm.
But but literally that truck was like iconic at the time. It's just now today it's one
Fair.
of those unloved, lost, forgotten legends that it's like people are like, oh, what's so special about it? And we're like, what do you mean? It's a damn Viper. And people are like, that's not a Viper. You know what I mean? Like people still don't even believe it sometimes. And then they hear it and they're like, oh, but good thing is we know the price is gonna go up. You know why? I think we all saw the video of that guy spinning out in the black SRT10, leaving that meat, and the wheel comes off. He like goes around the corner. Yeah, I think we all seen that. So the value's gonna go up because more of them are getting wrecked by people like that. And now
Which
people,
is whatever.
And people gonna know. They're like, wait a minute, that's a V10, and you know how that goes. Now we're gonna see on the internet probably a bunch of scalpers.
Well,
That's all I
time
gotta say about the
time will
SIP.
tell. What that's a good. I like everything you said there. The only thing I will probably I wouldn't say disagree, but I would say that's that's why a lot of people flock to the Dodge Ram more. Like that was more of a selling point for the Ram truck than it was a selling point
The Viper.
to the Viper. Yeah, because it's not like you could buy it. If they were selling crate engines, then that would be a selling point to the crate engine itself. Like the fact that you could fit in a Ram, people would just buy 1500 and start throwing Viper V10s in them.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? If they had a crate engine thing in a day, but obviously they didn't.
yeah.
What I'll say is, if they're trying to go the compact route, I feel like they either have to modernize the Neon because to me they disgraced the Hornet. The Hornet should have never came out. They brought it back out, and
Should have never came out as an SUV.
like I hate this whole crossover SUV BS. Like that, that's annoying. Like I get it with smaller brand cars like the Corolla Cross, you know, all this other ish. Like when Mitsubishi was like Eclipse crossover, that pissed me off. When you know companies do that to integral names like that, no. So if
Hmm.
they're going to do a compact sports car, they need a clean sheet. They need a they need to beat Toyota at their own game before Toyota comes out with that 4 cylinder or the three if they're
They
going
had
to.
one actually. They had a compact sports sedan, a Dart, and they
Yeah,
killed it.
no, yeah. But the if you look at what the Dart was,
It was
and
a
you
neon
look
and a caliber underneath it.
well, even
So
all right.
nice
So,
skin.
so now take a look back at what the Dart was before this Dart.
Yeah, an actual muscle car. I know, an actual
That's
muscle
then
car.
that's the
But it was a
problem.
compact muscle. It was a compact muscle, but then
So
they brought it back as a compact,
you know
like
what?
I don't
I
know what.
got you. I got you. Hot take. Challenger and Charger is fine. If you wanted a Charger 2 door, make the Dodge Dart. Call it the Dodge Dart. Say if I'm wrong. Do it. Do your own little different headlights. Do your own little tweaks in the front end, so it's a mixture between a Challenger and Charger, but make it a 2 door. Make it light as ish. Do like a smaller V8 and call it a Dodge Dart. That would have been
I
a
think
Dodge
you know
Dart.
what they're gonna have to do. They're gonna have to shorten the car too, though. I mean, if anything, like all right, the Challenger already doesn't have a big back seat, but this is gonna sound bizarre, but they'd have to shave off a lot of that front end nose weight that's on the Challenger Chargers. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
long hood.
Yeah,
They would need to like perfect formula. If
of
they
course.
saved the Dart name and didn't disgrace it, they could have brought it back. Yes, as a 2 door. They could have did the same thing they do like the Charger and the Challenger. Yeah, they could have brought back the Dart. It's a 2 door and a 4 door, small, compact, especially with this new Hurricane 4 cylinder and 6 cylinder. They could have, worked the engine around that, gave it a 4 cylinder option for like, obviously for base model purposes and sales and emissions.
Hmm.
Then they could have gave us the Hurricane 6 as like, okay, hey, because it's a compact muscle car, but you know what I mean? And just like the 60s, 70s, when some of them had 6 cylinders, slant sixes, and all that.
Yeah.
Like I said, they could have tried that a little bit and then gave us a light under 3,800 pounds, hopefully, under 3,800 pounds car. That would be light for a Dodge.
Yeah.
Um, and with decent performance and good handling. I think then they would have something. And then not really worry about the interior too much. Like we already know Dodges never really had the best interior. They have improved significantly where like they're decent, but
You
they're
seen
still like you see
the
other.
new Charger with Scat Pack with that electric BS of a car? That interior is nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
I mean, I don't
Some
like the
people,
car, but the interior is nice.
some people are like, yeah. Some people, it's funny. Some people are like, I like my old interior. I'm like, oh. But
You
I
on crack?
understand why. I get why though. I get why. It's because if you look at the new one, and you know what I mean, it just looks generic. At least the current Dodges, whenever you get in it, you're like, this is a Dodge. Like, it just had that like
Does it?
Dodge
All
plate.
right. So is the old Dodge an actual Dodge, or do they grab most of the tech from Fiat Alpha?
Yeah, they grabbed their tech from
Ah,
Fiat
didn't think
Alpha, but
about that,
but
huh?
the style,
Ah,
the
so it's like,
styling of
oh,
it.
I know it's a Dodge. Technically, you got an Italian interior, so
But but that's the beauty. You got the Dodge style, but you got Italian quality now,
yeah,
and
but
that's why people had on like
yeah,
people are
but
like
this the new interior I personally like because it tells me like, all right, that's a Dodge interior, versus it like borrowing parts from like was it borrowing door switches from what's it called in a Barth, or like borrowing actuators the seat actuators from like a Fiat, stuff like that. Even the
I'm
Uconnect,
okay with it.
even the Uconnect, the old Alpha Fiat BS, yo.
I don't know. I'm gonna stop you there. Dodge made you connect in 2008
If you look at
only
the
because I
pro,
wanted to.
if you look at the program and you look at what Fiat was doing, you're telling me Dodge made that?
Dodge made you connect.
Dodge made their own software, fair, but Dodge didn't make Uconnect as a whole by themselves.
They made you connect.
Okay, I'll let you have that. I'm not
The
gonna
reason
argue
why
with
I'm
that.
saying that,
I'm not gonna
I'm
argue.
only telling you this is because in '06, when I was looking at SRT charges, I'm a Dodge person. I've seen every single one. They had the old system where you had the old Mercedes style radio. It wasn't a touch screen. You only had to use the knobs, and it had a DVD player that came down and ejected. So like the screen
Yeah,
came down, and you were able to put CD in. In '08, they came out with New Connect 1.0, which came in the Jeep Compass and every single Dodge product. My
yeah, that
boy's
that
mother,
small like sister screen like this, right?
yeah. So
Yeah,
my boy's mother had a Jeep Compass, and she had the U Connect. And when that first came out, we loved that shit because honestly, it was so easy to use, and it had the map right there. You just press map right in the map. You know what I mean? It was simple for what it was. U Connect 2.0, once Fiat bailed them out, that's when everything turned up. That's when it became integrated. Like climate
and
control was built
and
into
that's
it.
but that's exactly what I'm saying. If it that's
Okay, U Connect
Fiat,
2.0.
that's
Maybe
Fiat's
you
design.
you connect you connect 2.0 definitely is a big upgrade.
That's
But
Fiat's literal design. That's like they were like, you know what? We'll take that from you. Like
yeah,
you
they
can
fixed
still
it.
have the name of Uconnect, right? But they took that from him and was like, we'll take it from here.
They fixed it for them. That's all they did. Fiat just said, hey, we're gonna take your product, we'll rework it. Here you go. Here, look at it now. And then they were like, here, put this in your cars. You know what
That's
it was?
a whole
I
lot
think
better.
Fiat. I think what it is, Fiat and Stellantis. I'm gonna say Stellantis right now because I know it was Fiat at the time, but I'm gonna say Stellantis. What
Yeah.
they did is they seen that Dodge had a good system and said, hey, we can improve on this, and we could probably use this in our cars because Uconnect quickly became praised as one of the best systems when GM systems sucked at the time. I don't even think they really had like a good infotainment system at that time. They were still using like regular radios
Uh huh.
and like not really putting screens in their cars until like 2012. And then like Ford had the um the sync system by Microsoft, which
Yeah.
was cool at first, quickly sucked, quickly became
The
forgotten.
the
I mean,
fresh
it's still
the
good.
fresh generations, yeah.
Yeah, the
When
first
you started
generation.
adding like all the features that the sync system had, yeah, they. I remember repairing a couple of those motherboards. They were not fun. So I do agree with you there.
Yeah.
Uconnect was
So
more
like
bulletproof, but it wasn't like feature proof like the Ford. But the Ford broke
no.
more. So I give you credit
And
where
then
credit's due.
yeah, so like that's why now I look at Uconnect and I'm like, it's like, wow. I remember when it just had like, these little buttons and you
Oh,
literally
of
go in
course.
there and you're like SRT pages, weather, info. I'm like, they literally added a whole system and then that shit that made GM step it up. Like, I mean, I remember when I looked at a Cadillac, I was like, wow, they finally have a decent system now. Like, it's not like a just a radio with navigation. You know what I mean? Basic where they want you to use OnStar.
And
It was like, hey,
you know why they stepped it up? Cause Fiat helped them. Once Fiat gave them a better software, better processing speed, better screens, better actual feature layout,
yeah, better screen,
they
digital
had
dashes,
no other choice. None.
digital dashes. Everybody's like, Dodge has a digital dash now.
I
What?
mean, The Lexus Acuras and all of them always had that. The BMWs, Mercedes thing always had it. But coming from an American company, that was more rare. So that I give you. The
Hold on,
dot
hold on.
that I
I
give
think
you.
even during that time, I think they beat everybody else without interior out at
No,
that time.
no, not Lexus. Not Lex. You know what? Not Lexus, and
What
not
year Lexus
and
are we talking about?
you can even O2 LS430.
No, Dodge got him beat.
What? 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 Nah, you did not just say like an '08 Jeep Compass had better interior than a Lexus
No,
LS430 and from
I ain't
2002.
saying the Jeep Compass. No, I ain't saying the Jeep Compass. I'm talking about. I'm talking about you gotta go for at least a Chrysler.
But 2002, Blake. 2002.
You gotta go after Chrysler for
2001.
that.
2000
Man, you gotta.
LS430 with the touchscreen nav and the touchscreen. You could still do button climate control, but touchscreen climate controls. What? And
Get an '08 Chrysler.
with the mahogany wood trim and the black or red leather if you want it optional. And if you got the maroon trim, you got the silver. You got the if you wanted the maroon mahogany wood trim, you got the silver bezels. Come on, come on. What?
But we gotta be talking. If you're talking
I'm
oh
searching this
06
up.
to oh, if you're talking '06 to 2010 Chrysler, then yeah, the interior sucked. But you can't tell me the interior. The interiors today, like I said, the interiors
Bro,
are.
look at that. Look at that.
Let me see what you see. Let me see what you see, because
And
I
this
don't
is
see what
the
you see yet.
beige trim option. It's not even the black trim
I don't
option.
see what you see. I don't see what you see yet. Hold on.
That's wild to me.
Let me see what you see, because I
Look
really
at
don't
that.
see. Eh,
All right, hold on. Stay right there. Stay right there. You telling me that ain't fire? With the whole nice like gleam intact, the mahogany wood trim
no,
even on
see,
the
that's the thing.
shifter.
That was the thing. It was good. It was good
At the
at the time.
year
Yeah.
2000, you telling me that Chrysler had a better trim than this? You're bugging. If
All right. Look at a. Look
if
at
Lexus
a.
came out with the LS430 in 2008, it's smacking it out the park because they were doing ish like this at the year
Look.
2000.
Wait. What's a Chrysler 300M interior look like?
I'm gonna search it up right now for you. I got you. Chrysler 300M
I'm only saying the
interior
300M because the 300C wasn't out at that time,
images.
and the 300M was like
Bro, where's your
supposed to be
touchscreen?
there.
Dude, look at this
They got a
beige
little.
plastic. No
Hold
trim
on,
options.
hold on.
That was
They
the
got a
only
touchscreen.
trim option you had.
They got a touchscreen. You know they got a touchscreen. They got a
Bro,
they
what
got
are
a
you
Uconnect
talking about?
25.
Bro, what are you talking about? No comparison. Like, all right, let's show this example, right? Let's go back to the beige example. You're gonna really compare? Look at that. Come on, bro. That
They look similar.
screen. That no, it they do.
They look similar.
This dude Blake just trying to piss me off, ladies and gents. That's crazy. That's crazy. This is no comparison, Blake. None. None
They both got
whatsoever.
wood trim. You know what I
No. All
mean?
right. All
And white
right.
screen.
All right. So whatever, because there's several examples of this 300M, right? This is the only wind trim besides that what looks to be glove box over there they got going across, right? And some of them didn't even come with the full wood trim option. It was half a wheel and two sides, and that's it. Bro, Lexus was like, you're getting on the door, you getting on the wood switch, you getting on the center console, you getting right near the airbag, you getting on your steering wheel, you get it everywhere. Bro, what? Bro, what? Yo, let me don't turn your camera off. Let me see your face. That's crazy.
um, I'll be honest. I'll swap that Chrysler 300 interior into that Lexus.
You're
Tell
gonna
them how it's done.
you're gonna swap the 300 interior into, bro. You wild, and this interior is way too smooth. You
Ah,
can't
we
you
can't
can't
we
disgrace
can't
it.
compare.
And you know what? Best
We
part,
can't compare though a luxury car though.
those
We
are
can't
two luxury
compare
brands.
luxury.
Those are two luxury brands, Chrysler and Lexus. Two luxury. You
Ah,
know it too, and
what?
you say it all the time. Don't
People don't even people don't even say Chrysler's luxury
Chrysler
anymore.
is a
People
luxury brand of the Dodge, Jeep. You
they haven't
know,
even given us a luxury car. They gave us a
Ram is
muscle
the
car.
trucks, Jeeps are the SUVs. Dodge, you got like one SUV, but they're mainly cars. And Chrysler, you got the luxury. That's how it was divided. Chrysler's the luxury.
Yeah,
Lexus is
they
just
they they
luxury no
they
matter
they
what.
stopped caring about luxury a long time ago.
Bro, but you cannot. This came out in 2000. This came out in '03. They had 3 years to
Yeah,
study the Lexus, and they still did a crappy job.
that's good.
Who who in the world will buy white bezel gauges on a black interior surface like that? Instead of letting it
Hey,
instead of
hey,
letting it
that's a Chrysler thing
But look at that. Look at
back
that.
then.
Look at this the black full black with the lights just gleam like even on the beige one. Look at that. Just dark, nice gleaming lights, nothing too crazy, simple, elegant. Like the BMW, the old BMW M's, just simple. The letters light
But
up, that's it.
see that's a Chrysler thing, Chrysler Dodge Jeep thing back then. Even the Grand Cherokees, Chryslers, the Jeeps, the Dodges, they all have white face
Oh,
gauges for
oh!
some
If you
reason.
want to go white, white gauges, I got you. Hold on.
Ah, white face gauges.
If you want to do gauges for gauges, I got you. The Lexus IS 300 goddamn look like a Rolex.
See, but see, that's different though. You're comparing a Lexus to Chrysler that was dying back then before they got bailed out by Mercedes.
This will be a more comparable argument. The IS 300 to your 300M. That will be a more comparable argument. But the LS 430 to the 300M, not even close.
But see, they didn't even have. See, that's the thing. Chrysler didn't have a full size like luxury car to compare back then. Like it's funny because the
I
300M
understand
back
that.
then would be considered mid-size, and then two, Mercedes bailed out Chrysler, but then they got the short end of the stick and got all their leftover parts, old school like the 2000s or 1990s to 2000 dashes, like the dash they put inside the Chrysler Pacifica.
Hey
That
yo,
wasn't the minivan at the time.
all I gotta say is learn to save your money. You shouldn't be
Matter
getting
of fact,
bailed out all the time. That's all I'm saying.
look at a Chrysler Pacifica. No, you're not gonna do that.
The
Save your
Pacifica's
energy.
nice. The new ones, yeah. The new Pacifica interior is
But
nice. But you're
but
comparing
I'm talking
two
about the old. I'm
decades
talking about the old.
trash.
I'm talking about the old one. But
Trash.
that was Mercedes. Hey, I blame Mercedes for all that.
Hey, if you getting bailed out, you only get what you can get. That's what that comes down to. If same thing if Toyota was getting bailed out, they have to get what they get, but they're really good with their money. The Americas aren't, unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, you connect. You connect is yeah. See, Chrysler Connect. So Chrysler, and this
Uh-huh.
is how I'm gonna start this. It's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, then Fiat, and then Alpha.
Mm.
So that's why I say it's a Chrysler product. So
No, it's
Chrysler, Dodge,
more.
Jeep.
It's no. It's a collective. When you're including more than one brand, it's a collective.
I don't know. I'll tell you where. I'll tell you who founded
Once
who
you tell
founded.
me it's a just a Jeep product and they took over, that's fine. I'm not saying it, and again, I'm not saying it isn't either. I would say Uconnect is the American, brand. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking that away from you. All I'm saying is the reason why it had a step up in its game is because of the Fiat Alpha.
Okay, there we go. Right here.
What does it
Right
say?
here. Sundberg Farr worked with, I don't know who that is. He worked with Chrysler's design office and HMI engineering team to create Uconnect's graphic and interaction architecture. Then FCA has updated Uconnect's features and services over the air via wireless cellular networks. So like I yeah,
So it
so
was a collective.
FC
So it's not even solely Jeep, Ram,
no,
and
no,
all them.
again it was originally created by Chrysler. Really, it says in 2003. That's when they first started developing it. But then again,
Yeah,
it
but
didn't
when did
come
it
out
go?
until
When did it come out? Yeah, I was about to say that was my next question. When
yeah,
did it come out?
2000 like 8, 2008.
And when it came out, was it solely Jeep, or did Fiat and
So
Alpha have their hands into helping that come out? Because if they did, it's no longer their product; it is a collective's product. That's what
yeah,
I
no,
want to know.
remember again, if it came out in 2003, it's like how do I describe it? Let me describe it like a technical thing. It's like me creating an OS,
Uh huh.
and so like
No,
I'm gonna call
you're
my OS.
developing an OS. You're developing.
So yeah, so I'm gonna develop an OS, and I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna call it, Blake's OS,
Yeah,
and then 5 years later, you know what I mean, it started looking a little old and stale, whatever, crusty,
yeah.
and then you're like, man, there's some features in there I can use. He doesn't even know. He's not even getting the max use out of this.
Oh,
You
okay.
come down, you
I
take it,
understand.
rework
I
it,
understand that. I understand that. But what you
and then now
described from that
then you
article is different.
re-describe it. Then you come out, because that's why I'm like, you connect 2.0 and 3.0. Yeah, I'll say that's definitely Fiat and all that. But like you can like 3.0 for sure. But you connect 2.0, 1.0. You can tell that that's Chrysler, and I'm not trying to disrespect Chrysler because I like Chrysler, but there's just a way of cheapness with certain things that they did back then. You could tell that what was their
So
product.
then
Just
that
the way
art.
it was cheapness.
So by the way you're saying it, that article must be false because what the article what you just described was that it was a collective. It wasn't just the brand. It was they needed help from
No, it
Fiat.
was
They needed.
Chrysler.
So explain it again then, because now you're confusing. Now
So
you're confusing me.
yeah. So back in 2003, Chrysler Group was the first North American automaker to offer Bluetooth technology into vehicles, laying the groundwork for what it would eventually become Uconnect 1.0, which was that
So when did 1.0
system.
come out? When did 1.0 come out? And who helped develop it? Is my question. Because it ain't Uconnect yet. They just laid the groundwork.
2003,
They
actually
can't.
2003.
Okay, so fine.
So then, and then
Uconnect's
in
yours.
three,
Fine.
then the Uconnect ecosystem would continue to mature with the launch of 3.0 in 2013 and 4.0 in 2016, which is when Stellantis basically took over. That's why I said 3.0 and 4.0. I don't tell anybody anything. I'm like, yeah, that's because you go in a Maserati, you go in a Fiat, you go in all those cars, they're in it. But you go in all the older Fiats and Maseratis, they all have their own radio. Chrysler had their own little, system doing their own thing. So it's
Fair.
like I said, they just
That's
came
fine.
in, reworked it, they worked it. But Uconnect, Chrysler created that system back then, and they were proud. That was one of the things that, like I said, it was like, okay, Chrysler, thank you. You guys gave us something. Like every automotive company, I feel like brings us a feature, and that's a good thing. Like they all bring something to the table. It may not be the best, but then someone else might say, good technology. I can improve on that.
One of these manufacturers should just dominate in every field of the aftermarket, not just one. But I
They
digress.
can't.
Yes, they
They
can.
can't.
They can. They just don't want to. They're too
You can't be
scared.
jack of all trades.
Why
Be
not?
jack of all trades. You're master
Why
of none.
not? Toyota did it.
Because then you can. They're not the fastest.
Toyota did it. They built the best. They built the best. What is it? Supercar, almost sports car. They built
Yeah,
the most reliable cars. They built some of the best SUVs.
but
Hell,
but
they
but
won a Dakar Rally 5 years in a row with a base Lexus
but
LX
I will
570.
say this.
What?
I will say this. Toyotas are Toyota for Toyota people. I'm gonna say it just like I see it in the comments. Not to go off topic, because you know why? Toyota people will buy a Toyota no matter what they put out. It doesn't matter if it's a box on wheels. They'll be like, it's gonna be reliable. It's gonna be good. And it doesn't
but
even they don't even care if it has the most features.
it's
They'll
not.
buy
But
it.
the thing is, it's not like they're stuck with one thing and they branded it off differently, like Chrysler. You know, they've they have Forerunner Off Road, which won its own crawler awards. They have, the Sequoia and the Lexus LX 570, which won a Dakar Rally 5 years in a row from 2012 to 2017 in stock car class. They have the Supra back then of what that was able to do in a GT 500. They have the MR2, the Celica. They have the more reliable bunch of the Camrys and Corollas, and now they use the Camry body in NASCAR. They had the LFA, which was one of the most dominant sports supercars that they've ever built, which laid the foundation to all the F models for what they built, which they built the RC, which was dominating
Hmm.
tracks. They built the ISF, the GSF, which I mean, it's good that they did it, but to me, there wasn't really much to it. The LC, which is Grand Tour, which is now laying the foundation for the new roadster, the twin turbo roadster that they're building. That was the LC was based on the LFA, and it was a more like affordable option. Like they built
But
all these
they
varieties
have
of.
all these. See, you mentioned all these great cars, but unfortunately, they become forgotten sometimes because they get outshined by being because I'm not gonna say they perform great, they do great, but they're not what's the word? They're not as exciting as like a Benz AMG or Hellcat or something like you know what I mean?
And
Like
but all right,
like
so I
they
understand
win,
that, and I was
they
I was gonna
perform
get to that.
well,
I was gonna get to
and
that.
but they just don't have that like they don't have that like I don't know, it's like there's an edge or something that they're missing. And that's why I'm like that's why like now that I think Toyota's taking it serious because they're like, wait, we do build good cars. We do know how to build, products that can win and what I mean, compete,
Yeah,
last. And like, yeah, we and maybe they might not come first all the time, but at least their product will last. But I think that only worked for so long because, what I mean? I feel like after the 90s, 80s, 90s, when everybody realized Toyota was like the most reliable brand. And by then, like, I think like mind in my mind still tells me 90s Toyota was peak Toyota reliability. 2000s, obviously, you might get a lemon here and there, but like compared to other brands, it's only gonna be like maybe five versus like 20 to the other brands or like
mm,
30.
mm.
So I think what it is they build these great performing cars, great platforms, great engines, great everything to work on. Especially if you start modifying them, like what I mean, you start winning everything. But from the factory, they always get outshined by like these other big sledgehammers, and then it's like the big sledgehammers might they're like ha
I
ha ha we're
I
look at us and then but
I
then
understand that, but there's something wrong. There's a problem to that. Yes, they are. These brands do build what you call sledgehammers, but where they excel, and that's like, let's say they excel in top speed, Toyota still builds a better handling car. Let's say they get excelled on better handling, they still build a better performer and reliability. Like no other brand can do that. I'm not saying they can't. They can. What I'm saying is Toyota has excelled in trying to do the jack of all trades. Hence why,
yeah
let's say your Corvette or your Mustang or your C63 AMG or whatever it is that you drive around for the weekend. Let's say it breaks down. Guess what you're driving? Toyota, Honda. Like you're driving one of those
yeah
reliable
some
brands.
yeah
And yeah, you might not have the sports car version of that brand, but you're gonna still have the reliable car of that brand. You're not gonna go get
yeah
like a Chevy Malibu if you own a Corvette. Granted, you
no
want to be all American. More likely, you're gonna have a Toyota Camry or Corolla. If you want something off road that's reliable, yeah, Jeeps can be fun and all, but Foreigner does it better, in my opinion. So it's
mm,
like you get all these. Let's say you LS swap your Jeep Wrangler, right? And let's say you bust a lifter. Guess what you're gonna drive back? Something Japanese, whether it be your
man
QX, whether it be your QX, whether it be which for some you like blowing that shit up just cause. Not saying you blow it up. What I'm saying is you like testing the limits. You can test the limits to these Japanese cars, and that's what people gravitate towards is the fact that damn, like you said, I hit 200,000 miles. This thing don't. There's no creaks in the dash. There's no this. There's no that. It just lasts. That is literally
that's
Japan,
Japanese that's the Japanese build quality that's that thing
and we're
but
and
what I
that's what
mean
I'm
but that's
saying.
that's the
And
thing
but
when it
hold
comes
on,
to
hold on,
all the
hold on. I'll
Japanese
let I'll
brands
let I'll let you continue. Let me just finish my point. What I'm saying is yes, Toyota's not the best at everything, but they do a really good job at building a Swiss Army knife. And a lot of times, Although, let's say your blade don't work, that Swiss Army knife's gonna come in clutch. Let's say your screwdriver don't work, that Swiss Army knife's gonna come in clutch. Let's say you broke your corkscrew, that Swiss Army knife's gonna come in clutch. They build a really good Swiss Army knife that just doesn't break. I don't know what to tell you
It's a
about
good way
that.
to put it. No, that's honestly a good way to put it. Honestly, I could agree with you on that because it's like a multi-tool. But that's why I said it's like a jack of all trades, master of none. But some people tend to take that the wrong way. I kind of want to reiterate that why I say that. I like to say jack of all trades, but it mastered some. Because like, and I say that meaning like they know how to build a well-rounded packaged vehicle
Fair.
that it may not have the highest top speed, like you said. Like, you know
Yes.
what I mean? Maybe this car might out edge it on top speed, or this
Okay.
car might out edge it on acceleration a little bit.
Or
But
handling,
yeah,
or I get what you're saying, or braking, or
exactly.
whatever it may
But
be.
you're getting a complete package where you know you're gonna get in it, start it up every day, enjoy it, and you're gonna be happy for what it is. And that's what I mean. I just have my thing is I can tell when Toyota is being blatantly cheap, and I'm only saying this in terms of the SUV lineup right now. Like I feel like their cars, they're doing good. The SUV lineup, they're messing that up right now.
Well,
Like
they're steering
the no
away
roll
from
down
it,
window,
I think.
no roll down window in the new Sequoia. Docking a point for that. That was like your iconic feature. That real rare roll down window.
Oh,
That's iconic.
the trunk roll down window. That's what you
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
Okay,
that one.
my bad.
And then even the new, like I said, the new Land Cruiser SUVs and everything. Like I like what they're doing because they're going after that retro look and like
Hmm.
you know the Range Rover Discoveries and everything. Because like I mean Defender, because the Defender came out and it kept that like it kept their retro look. Because I mean hell, the Defender like the Nissan Patrol overseas, they both were still selling their 1960s and 80s models, just like Toyota too.
Hmm.
All three of them actually. So I can't even say that they all were selling their old off-road SUVs till this day, and until they were forced to, you know, make everything more modern. So they're like, okay, we're just gonna make them like we're gonna make modern retro versions of these. Like we're gonna make a modern, you know, version inspired off our existing, you know, current beast. Which I respect that. Like Toyota's took the 70 series that people
Hmm.
loved, retrofied it, and said we're gonna give this out to the world so the world can understand what you know what Land Cruiser is.
Yeah.
Respect. But they also heard it because in America they made the Land Cruiser such like a big, expensive vehicle. So like now Americans are confused. So like they should have called it like they did overseas. Like I said, I don't know why they won't do it. Same thing with Nissan. Like why can we have an Armada? Just tell everybody, hey, this is Patrol now. Like stop, kill the Armada name. I'm tired of seeing it. Call it the Patrol. Like so like Toyota should have called the Land Cruiser this one the Land Cruiser Prado, just like they do overseas. So then we would say, oh,
Land Cruiser Prado. Wow.
so like yeah, because then at least we would have known and said, okay, hey, we got a nice Land Cruiser here. Like, you know, we got a nice off road, you know, he's not meant to be this big behemoth. Then they could have still rolled out maybe like 2026, 2028, a large Land Cruiser Sequoia based one for people who need that big family but want like a big off road, you know,
Hmm.
beast that needs that extra space. Like, yeah, the Land Cruiser has three rows, but it's like it's a tight three row. Like now, but if you wanted
Give or
a
take, yeah.
yeah, if you wanted a large three row, like for example, the new Armada compared to the Land Cruiser, it's like you get almost like an extra foot of space on the inside. You know what I mean? Like you almost like okay, like the second row, you're almost like there's like this much more space in it, and then third row, you're actually like shit, I can actually fit in the third row versus just being a kid. So that's why I'm like okay, they missed the mark in the American side. Overseas, they're gonna kill it. They're gonna kill it because overseas, nobody really needs like these large behemoth SUVs that we got here.
Uh,
But
yeah. Overseas, they're not. Overseas, they're not gonna need it because most of them aren't obese like America. We need it.
that is also, and they usually only put five people, and if they do, yeah, they can all squeeze in there, no problem. They're like,
I don't. I will probably disagree with you in the sense where that they're gonna kill it overseas. I feel like if they brought that here, they would have killed it here more than would have killed overseas. Because
I do know that the
we
patrol.
have America has a fat problem. We all fat. You know what I'm saying?
However, I do know that new patrol though, right?
Mm.
It's gonna make the competition stiff because when they had the existing one, the one that was old, the old current platform, yeah, it was like a clear winner. It was like, okay, hey, we finally got a modern Toyota SUV here. You know which one to get. But now it's like we got two twin turbo V6s versing each other now. We got Toyota's I-Force Max
Yeah.
with the hybrid versus Nissan's now new VR35 DETT.
Mm.
So it's like now we're seeing actual rivalry come back up again. Because before it was like V8 versus V8. Okay, Nissan made a little bit more power, was a little faster. They're both decently reliable. Toyota might edge it out in terms of not
Right.
having to take it to the dealership as much.
And
But they both
reliability.
were just as good, both just as good off road.
True.
But then now that people figured out how to maintain these cars, stop listening to Nissan dealerships where they're like, don't change your oil, change it every 12,000 miles, or change it every.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
wild.
no,
I don't know why.
most of us, we change it every 3,000 miles. Now, guess what? In the group, you see everybody's mileage like everybody's like, I hit 200,000. I'm at 300,000. I'm like, I told y'all keep oil in your car. I just told you. I just
Yeah,
said
but
check your oil. And people are like, they thought I was crazy. I'm like, yo, I'm like, do you guys drive your cars hard? Because I know I drive mine hard. Check your oil. I bet it's low. Literally, five people. Yo, I checked my oil. It was actually low, bro. I'm like, yeah, you mean you're gonna take it to the dealership thinking that they're checking it. At 9 times out of 10, they're too busy to check it unless you tell them, and it's not their fault. They're not. I mean, it's ignorance. People think that it's like they think a mechanic or engineer like yourself, like a mechanical engineer,
I'm
when
not an
you go in,
engineer, not at all. I didn't go to school. I just love what they do. I study it all the time,
well,
but I'm not. I don't have the title, so don't tell me. Don't call me an engineer.
ah, well, fine. We'll call you mechanic for now. We'll call this one just
Call me
mechanic
call
for
me
now.
honorary, I guess. Yeah.
Honorary, yeah, yeah.
Fucking
You the
BS.
honorary engineer. So as of right now, you know what I mean? They think that you're gonna go in there, you're gonna be like, oh, let me check the tire pressure, let me check the oil, let me check the coolant. You're like, you don't got time for that. You come in, they're like, hey, what's the problem with your car? Then once you're looking at it, maybe you have time to check everything else.
Hmm.
You're not gonna be like, okay, okay, yeah, you need this. No, that's not what you got so many other jobs, and if you had to do that, they would literally need like probably a bay of like what, maybe 20 people
Yeah.
to handle that because everybody would be occupied, and they probably would have to put two people on each car or something.
Yes and no. I don't think they would, only because then they won't make money as far as the flat rate side. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
They would have to do something to
to
eradicate.
accommodate for all that,
Hmm.
and that's why I feel like most people have this issue with the dealerships. But that's my little rant about dealerships because I've seen it happen with Toyota dealerships that are not the best. You know what I mean? Like there's always gonna be a couple
But
shady ones.
that's the people that run it though. That's never the product itself. That's the
Exactly. I was
only
gonna say
problem.
it's not the product. That's what I say. This comes to the dealership, not the product.
And
And I've
that's
seen
what
it happen to
people who
many.
forget that. Remember, it's never really the dealership. It's always the people. Always.
Yeah, trust
Ask
me.
me how I
A
know.
matter of
Ask
fact,
me.
I'm gonna shout out this dealership right now. Uh, Nissan Infinity Hanover. Y'all were good to me, and then y'all got bought by some other company, and they were like some guy. And then let's just say this, man. I can't. I really wanted to shout the name out just now. Guess it's not meant to be. But anyways, such a bad experience. Such a terrible, terrible, terrible experience. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
find the paper pretty soon. Next
Yeah.
time for the next podcast, I'm gonna go find the paper in my book on my
All
paper,
all I'm
and I'm
saying
gonna say it.
is, if you want someone to work on your alpha, I am now Alpha Tech. So come on by to Central Florida. Shit,
Oh boy,
get your alpha done right.
oh boy.
But enough of that. Nice little sidetrack, but it's all right. So let's go to the next one. Let's see here. The Mustang GTD. People who pre-order those, the $400,000 GT3 cars, can't sell their cars for 2 years under written agreement. So for them scalpers and those rippers, no can
Good,
do.
good. But at the same time, they'll be lucky if their car appreciates.
They will be lucky, yeah.
And then two, I'm a little impartial to the Mustang GTD. I know they've won at that racing series, but from the comments that I read and seen, I guess the Porsche and the Corvette were technically faster, but they got wrecked out on a couple laps. Like, they didn't get to race clean, but the Mustang had a clean race. So I just kept laughing because someone said being slower sometimes has an advantage. And I'm like, damn, because I'm thinking, Mustang GTD1, I'm thinking, man, this thing must be a rocket ship. This thing's fast. Then, of
No,
course, I
it's just
read and I'm like,
it's just good balanced car.
then that's when I read, I'm like, okay, I see. So they got to fight, race clean. They didn't have to fight anybody where, some people may have got bumped off the track, wrecked, couldn't complete the race.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's smart. I think that's what they did with the Ford GT program, which was good. It's smart because you. I mean, it's smart and it's not. It's smart because it's good that you're holding on to the car, but it's not because after 2 years they're just gonna sell it anyway, and it depends on how the market is for the car. If the market starts skyrocketing and they just hold up, that's an investment. If the market stays
Yeah,
stagnant, it's still an investment to a sense. If it starts dropping because they realize, and I'm gonna keep saying this, that the ZR1's a barely value of $1, then nope, too bad. You own the car. So that's the way I look at it. I wouldn't say there's much to talk about on this subject, at least. But I
yeah.
think it's 1,400 cars in the initial 2 year run, leaving 6,100 buyers foaming at the mouth to get one, they say. How much people are willing to pay to get a Mustang GTD, which has a starting price of our already lofty $325,000? And that doesn't include options like the performance package, like the performance package, a requirement if you want to do a sub 7 minute lap at a Nurburgring. If you recall the case of John Cena's Ford GT, he broke the 2 year requirement after allegedly flipping his car for a large profit, according to
Mm-hmm.
Ford. We don't know the consequences of breaking the GTD agreement, but if somehow showed up with $1 million to buy a $325,000 Mustang, those consequences just might be worth it. Which is an interesting case that they brought the John Cena thing when he got his broke the 2 year agreement, sold it for a substantial amount of cash. But me personally, I think if you're buying a car, do
John
whatever you want.
Cena's a goat.
Oh yeah, for sure. Can't see me. Can't see the cash that's going in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, um, to me, I think if you're buying a car, unless if you are buying it to sell, then that you already bought the car. You already bought the car. Granted, that
Yeah,
doesn't tie into what the brand thinks as like, oh, we build these cars for people, enthusiasts, all that BS. I'm sorry. If you want to
yeah,
capture an enthusiast's, what is it, enthusiast dream, either have a Ford GT or go get a Ferrari or Lambo. That's the way I look at it. At least Lambos, you don't have to hold on for 2 years. You could just even the Revuelto and all that stuff. You could just buy it, flip it, whatever, do whatever you want. So I think it's good, but I think it's also not because of the value of dollar you're getting for this car. Do I agree with it? Uh, in a lot of cases, yes. In some cases, no. Uh, it is a great performing car, especially from the Nurburgring time we saw. I wasn't impressed, but I'm glad that it was the first American car to break the 7 minute marker. I still wasn't impressed because of what we were getting news about the CR1, and then it was like they were rushed to go out there real quick and perform this lap time so that they could be the first American brand to do so. Regardless, at the end of the day, it's just a sports car with a hefty price tag. So that's the way I look at it. Do you have anything to add to this one?
only thing I have to add is I don't understand why they try to dictate what we can and can't do with our money. We spent it, but at the same time, I understand it. It's kind of the same philosophy as Ferrari. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, don't ruin our product, or hey, don't just buy our product to make money off of it. We want you to actually buy our product for a reason. We want you to actually be passionate about it. But I really have nothing to say other than I guess that's just the way it is, and
I th-
you know,
I think in that sense, I do agree with you. The only problem was Ferrari's Italian. We all know how Italians roll. They're really
yeah, we do.
prideful. American has
Yep.
pride, but nowhere near the level as close as the Italians. Nowhere near. Granted,
That's
they
true.
it's not. I'm not saying they don't build good sports cars. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you want that commitment, you're more likely going to get it from an Italian brand than you are from an American brand. That's all. Like like Ferrari has that essence, that character, that aura, quote unquote, what the kids now call it nowadays, because of their
Yeah,
history in racing, because of what Enzo was doing with the brand. Hell, before Enzo, the only thing that reminisce with Italy itself is pasta, the Pope, Naples, the
yeah,
Colosseum, and that was pretty much it. Now you got Ferrari as one of the staples of Italian culture. That just shows how much he puts into the country, let alone he puts into the automotive world. And that's what you're gonna get. And unfortunately, you have to agree to those contracts with Ferrari if you're going to get said Ferrari. But that makes sense coming from that brand. To me, it doesn't make sense
yeah,
coming from Ford. Although they did beat Ferrari at Le Mans, although they did it again when they released the new GT in 2017 and they won their class, they still got to beat them at the top of the class. They only beat them at the top of the class 4 years in a
yeah,
row in one time period. They didn't. They haven't beat them ever since. They probably beat them in. They beat them in Formula One, but it was Ford Benetton in the mid '90s when Michael Schumacher won those two championships. That was it. So, like, Ferrari has a history of on-road racing, and that's all they stick with. Anything tarmac. So that's the way I look at it. I think they're a little excessive, but I get it because people like to flip these cars. So
yeah,
I think there's more value of a GT. So John Cena, hats off to you because you knew the value of the GT and the fact that you sold it for big bucks is nice. You know, do what you want with your money, but it is what it is.
yeah.
Now moving on, the Chevy. Well, it's gonna be two Chevy news, so we're just gonna try to. Well, actually, it's gonna be EV news. We're gonna start off with the politics behind EV and the possibility of a $1,000 tax. What were we talking about when we were talking about electric cars?
Let's see.
How like everything was
Good job.
just gonna become more expensive.
Yeah, infrastructure, everything. Oh wow. That,
Two legislative
that was,
efforts introduced by GOP senators seek to repeal the current 7,500 tax credit for EV purchases and introduce an 1,000 tax on EV purchases. So instead of giving them credit for buying an EV, you're taxing them on the purchases, citing vehicles' weight. Automakers have been quietly preparing for a future where federal EV incentives no longer exist and expect challenges in the coming years due to threats of tariffs too, which that also includes the Trump administration has signaled a willingness to roll back various federally sponsored EV efforts, including those aimed at building more charging stations, which we've talked about was going to be the biggest issue if an EV mandate was about to happen is how are you going to get these charged up? Which is annoying that I have to keep speaking about this, but I keep telling y'all as much as EVs are cool, don't get me wrong. They bring back design. Like they're so well designed now. Like the Dodge Charger, Tesla Plaid, the Ionic 5. I think I sent you a picture about I was working on doing the EV battery thing. They're really well designed interiors. Some design exteriorly decently well, but the interiors are so nice. I like they're bringing back a lot of like essence, a lot of character on the inside. At least when you're driving it, it's a million bucks, but you're damn near there. Let's say, but
mm.
let's follow. What do you think
I
about?
understand what you feel about that. I understand how you feel. Most of the interiors are nice because they have all that screen and electricity to play with now.
Yeah, true, but it's like it's a lot more symmetrical. Is what I think it is. It's like you don't have to worry about like with the Tesla
Yeah.
Plaid with the whole yoke, with the U yoke, with now you get like an even dash. You get a lot of like I don't know. I like the design. I personally, I'm not a big
No,
fan
I
of
get what
EV.
I like what you just said about symmetry because a lot of them, yeah, they don't have. transmission tunnels, any components, just a battery pack on the floor flat, so they can make everything kind of uniform
Yeah.
and like structured. Versus like, yeah, we see some cars where like, okay, this is like offset over here a little bit.
Yeah, or
That
it's like
side comes out.
driver focus, which you get with some sports cars and stuff like that. But this is just, it's a far
Yeah,
symmetrical field, and that's what I like about it. Like even the Charger Scat Pack 2, the new EV one. Yes, we all hate that's electric, but you can't deny the interior design. That thing looks phenomenal. Not saying it's the best thing to ever come out, but it's damn near good looking. Like I wouldn't mind going in there driving it, but I will unplug the speakers because I don't want to hear that fake engine noise.
that's okay. We're getting the hurricane powered Charger soon.
Ah, here we go with that beast set. Moving on. Speaking of EV news and tariffs and all that BS, we're not here about politics. We're here about cars. And Chevy went on and about and built an EVR off the Blazer. This is
I know why they
nasty.
did this.
This
You
is
know why they did
nasty.
this?
Why is that?
Because people have ragged the Blazer from not being a real Blazer. People have brought that truck. They ran that name through the mud, but somehow it still succeeded because why? It's just a simple car, and most
Oh yeah.
Americans, especially you know what I mean. I'm sorry, I'm gonna call them what it is. Most of these boomers and old timers really don't really care. They just want a car, and
There you
they're like, I
go.
just want to go A to B.
It's
You know what I
okay.
mean?
You can say it all you want. That's a screenshot
You
right
hear,
there. Boomers.
you hear, you know what I
You.
mean? You hear it. No, ain't no boomer. I liked my power. I likes power. Hey, boomers like power too, though. But I likes power.
Oh, of course.
But nah, but this right here is because I mean, people rag this name like this Blazer. They're like, hey, it's not a real Blazer. Like you see the new Bronco. Even Toyota had an FJ Cruiser in '06, and that was nice. Like you know what I mean? That paid homage to the retro design back then.
Uh huh.
Jeep Wrangler still out, and then like now they have a Gladiator truck. So everybody's like, okay, Chevy's coming back out with the Blazer. It's gonna be like based on a Tahoe, maybe a removable roof. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, wow, finally the ultimate like Tahoe, Avalanche, Yukon, whatever thing. Then they gave us this. And it's supposed to be the Blazer was supposed to be like the Camaro SUV, but then you couldn't. It wasn't railroad drive. You couldn't even get the same engine options, but you had the similar interior. You know,
Hmm.
fast forward a couple of years, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. Yes, it's a handsome looking vehicle. It does look nice. Uh, the EV Blazer came out. I seen one on the street. I'm like, decent. I guess I could see why people would like it. But this, this is how you
13,
get them talking.
1,300
This is how you get
horsepower
people
from three
talking.
electric motors.
This is how you get people to talk. Whether this right here is an example of how you get people to talk about you when they don't want to talk about you. This is how you get people to mention your name when they don't want to mention your name. That this is what you do.
You know what I'm about to say. I'll add to that. I'll add to that because Chevy's doing a good job. What are they on? They're on some. I don't know what drugs they on,
they
but
somebody
they're
hurt them.
but they're
Somebody hurt them. They
pushing,
got hurt by Ford and Dodge
pushing.
because for years and years, everybody knows Chevy's been like that brand. Then now you got Dodge with the Hellcats walking around like you know what I mean. And then you got the Coyotes walking around just dominating the streets right now.
They got the best
So
air pump.
I think Chevy right now is on like hey, like we gotta make sure we step this up, and we gotta
But
make sure like no,
bro,
we're not leaving anything on the table anymore.
bro, like all right, they in NASCAR. They're now in WEC with the Cadillac. That thing's the fastest overall, but it keeps having reliability issues. If they get it down, they'll be nasty. Now we got the ZR1 after the C6, and now we got an EVR concept NASCAR. Like,
Hmm.
what a like whoever's in their performance department, cause this is insane. This is like this is how
I
you
think they
build
finally
this is
pulled.
how you build an electric car. Like I'm not
You know what
saying
they did?
what's up.
They stopped saying, "Hey, you can have some of these." I'm
Oh,
back.
there it is. There it is. Wonder what happened.
Did I disconnect?
No, mine disconnected. It just
Oh,
dropped.
okay. Okay. I was like, "What happened?" I was literally sitting
It
here.
just
I see
no,
myself.
it just randomly did it. I don't know why. Like
You know what?
I'm looking at my internet speed. It just bloop. All right, we're back to topic.
All right, we're back. All right. So
Yeah.
yeah, long story short, yeah, I think they finally had the bean counters. They finally let the bean counters stop counting, and they
Mhm.
were like, you know what, guys, go crazy, do what you guys want to do. If it's successful, then we know where the money's at. I feel like right now, I feel like most brands, and I'm gonna say this even about Toyota too, because this is why I said this is why I'm here for the new Toyota. That's why like I have a whole thing where there's a window of Toyota where I avoid right now,
Yeah.
just because I'm like eco cars, like you know what I mean. Unless I modify them. 90s Toyota, I'll probably buy every single one of them, and early 2000s, like some certain models. Then
Yeah, but we're talking about the Chevy EVR though. Like,
so but that's the thing. I feel like they're all now looking at the money is in the performance world. I feel like they at first they were like, oh, the money's in like the regular consumer world, regular consumer cars, everyday people.
yeah,
But I think they're realizing the serious money is in the performance industry where most of us we won't buy another car. We're not gonna buy a car, or we're gonna wait until we see something we're like, hey, that's worth me
you know
spending
what?
my hard-earned money
You
on.
know what? I'll add to that, and I wouldn't say the money's in the performance. The just like every movie ever, I think Ford versus Ferrari capitalized on this pretty well as far as the business side of it.
Yeah.
As far as any manufacturer ever, as far as business, right?
Yep.
They want the cars that mean something. They want the cars that win. They want the cars that dominate. Like, unfortunately, Red Bull doesn't make a car. I mean, they are making a track car, but you can easily get an energy drink. People will go to a Red Bull for energy drinks, but when people like, let's say, during a time where Mercedes was dominant, let's say, people will buy a Mercedes because they want that dominance.
Yep.
They want that, like,
Yep.
what is winning? I want that. The Ford
Yes.
GT out the gate when they came back in 2017, won in its class. People wanted that. The oh, trying to think what else. The Ferrari 599 in the WEC won Le Mans twice in a year, 2 years in a row. People are now scoundering trying to find a 296 GTB, which is the entry level Ferrari as far as new Ferraris go. But people now want
Which is
it
funny.
because it's a similar
Which
power
is
plant to the
which is
599
funny.
WEC. People
And
want that.
people ragged it at first too, which is funny.
Exactly,
Which
which
people
is,
also ragged the Ford GT at first too, because it was a V6. And I'm like, now we think
and
about it.
now we see all these
We
aftermarket
own
companies
Ford.
with EcoBoost V6s trying to like build. Like, you get the idea.
So we so we kind of owe Ford an apology because I mean maybe you don't, but I know I do
I
because
don't.
at first I'm like no
Mm-mm.
V8. I'm
No,
like no V8.
no,
I'm
I
like I
don't
know the
afford an
car's
apology.
lighter. I'm like no V8. No, I mean not even a 5.0. You didn't. I know the old one had a 5.4. I was expecting the 5.0 or hell now that we got that new GT 500 V8. Hell that would be nice in a Ford GT. But
I
but
ain't, I ain't gonna lie.
they did what they needed to do with the EcoBoost and
I
they won.
expected Ford to copy Ferrari's homework before Chevy did.
I felt like Ford already did a good job of like doing their own thing. So I felt like they're like, you know what I
I'm
mean? But
not.
like
I'm
Chevy
not.
literally,
I won't apologize to Ford only because I get it. I get it. Like, Boost is the new thing, but they didn't have to go that route.
yeah,
They
no.
didn't.
They didn't have to go that route that early, like, especially with the GT. They could have gave us, what they should have did? They should have gave us a Ford GT 350.
No, wouldn't work.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, it wouldn't work. Like a smaller, like two versions of a
Ford
GT.
GT is one brand, one trim, one engine option. That's it. Wouldn't work.
Mm,
Wouldn't work.
mm.
I say keep the Ford GT V8 throughout. Isn't like keep it in its essence, keep it in its prime. Even if you do a twin turbo V8, just keep it V8. Keep it small. Do
Well,
like McLaren 4 liter twin turbo.
I was thinking, so they need to do something different. That's why. Right? If they want to stay, on top of everything, they should try something different.
Nah, I think right now Chevy's killing it. I like to see it. They're going bananas with everything. I like that too. They're actually pushing limits, which I think this is besides yeah, I would say this is the first American brand in the 2000s that's pushing limits. Yeah, I will say that. I'm gonna stand on that. The
Okay,
Chevy's
there we
pushing
go. This
limits.
is what they should have did. This is what they should have did. Sorry to cut you off. They should
Go
have
for
gave
it.
us a GT40 retro, and then made a Ford GT, which is like the GT, and then
Oh,
Ford
like the
GT40.
Countach.
Yeah,
Okay,
something,
makes
something, something
sense.
like something just something in between, just to be like, hey, look, you guys can have this, like, but we're giving like a
But
retro,
the thing
and
is,
then
if you're constantly building the GT over the years, it
it
will be
makes it
hard to
less.
do a retro.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you
you're
only
right.
did the GT once and then you built a
Yeah,
retro, that's a different story.
yeah, you're right. You got a point. You got a point.
Like they did the
You
Countach
know,
once. They're like, you know what? We'll bring it back.
I forgot how impressive the GT was, making
Oh, it's
700
nasty.
horsepower with
It's
the
nasty.
3.5 twin turbo EcoBoost. That's honestly, that's
I
pretty impressive.
I am not a big fan of the design of the EcoBoost, but I am impressed with the EcoBoost. I'm just not a fan of the design of the EcoBoost. I am not a fan of
So,
the monoscroll integrated. That's one thing I will always hate about any car. I am not a fan of integrated exhaust ported heads. I will never be. I get it. It's compact. It's nice. And in some cases, it doesn't even do that much drawback to exhaust flow as far as going into a turbo, depending on the situation. I get it. I still don't like it. Hell, they
so I
go
get
for
it.
it.
I No, I was gonna say I didn't know that the EcoBoost shared a lot of components with the F-150's 3.5, except for like larger turbos, aluminum intake, custom dry sump, unique camshafts, higher strength rotating assembly, and timing components.
Yeah, but I think that thing still has an integrated exhaust ported head. That to me, like if you at least did it like at least individual exhaust ported and just did your own actual manifold shit like that, I'll give you a little more credit. I still wouldn't be a big fan, but I'll give you a little more credit because like all right, we built the heads differently for this engine, and everyone else gets the regular monoscroll head style, and I'm like all right, you know what? I give you that. I'll let you have it. Like hell,
Mm,
Ferrari now has a 120-degree V6, and they didn't go that route. They were like, nah, we're doing individual exhaust ports, and we're gonna build our own turbo man. Like McLaren, the Alpha 690T, Nissan GTR VR30. Like, come on now. Like, granted, the new VR30 and the
yeah.
VR35 is stupid. They made it monoscroll, but besides that, like, come on now.
Oh wow, that's impressive too. I didn't know that the GT they made the first GT from '04 to '06, and then the
Mm-hmm.
second one from 2016 to 2022. So they extended
You mean the second and the
the
third because
production.
the first was in the '60s.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. The first, yeah, 'cause you know what? The first they sometimes call it GT40. It's a GT.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The new one's GT though.
Yeah,
Well, the new
yeah.
but old model.
But exactly. But you know what? And I do like how they didn't stray away from the design that much. Like I'm looking at the new one, and because of the twin turbo V6, I do respect them for like for kind of giving it like that nice aero.
Yeah. No, it's it's a fantastic car. It's a fantastic looking car. It shares a lot of essence with the previous GT40s. Like, I'm not hating on the design on it. I'm not hating on the design of it at all. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong.
No, me either. It's no, it's pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie. It's the more I keep looking at it, the more I'm like,
I just don't like
all
the
right,
power plant. That's all.
me either. But you know what? I think it'll grow on me. I guess over time.
Unless they build a different style head, then it'll probably grow on me because
I'd have to hear it.
besides Toyota, they were also the only ones that had a chance to dethrone the VR38, but they chose the designs that they chose, which kind of gave it its own Achilles heel, in my opinion.
Mm, Oh, nice. Carlisle has a Ford GT Jag Race. I love when they do that. The generations of the cars.
Yeah,
We
I
need to do
saw
that.
that Carwell. I saw that on that. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah, but nah, Chevy's killing it. I like it. The fact that they're going the I've rarely see these numbers on an EV besides like a Rimac Navara, which does 2,000 horsepower all electric. The Koenigsegg, I think it's Regera, what it's called, with a 3 cylinder, with the other three
Hmm.
motors. So it's the fact that it's their own NASCAR concept and it's EV I like it.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah. That
NASCAR
says a
car, which
lot,
is
though.
interesting. Yeah,
That says a lot because it's like, it's like, what are you guys trying to pull off here?
dude,
You know what I
thirteen
mean?
hundred
It's like
horsepower with three six phase motors that revs at more than 15,000 RPM, which is more than double their 670 horsepower targeted V8s for the next gen stock cars that race in the NASCAR Cup Series today. Yeah,
that NASCAR. Yeah, and that this Blazer. I keep going back to it now. I was like, this Blazer. I keep going back to it now. I was like,
might have to restart my PC later on, but it just dropped again. That's interesting.
ooh.
Let me kick up. You know what I'm gonna do? Kick up the fans. But no, I like the fact that they're doing this. I like the fact that they're pushing the boundaries, and it's nice to see that they're getting somewhere with this. All right, cancel. Let's crank up
But
the
I wonder how
fans.
many miles they'll get out that chart. I mean that. I wonder if it'll be enough to complete, you know, the uh, the racetrack. Wow, Chevy Blazer EV, the Challenge, Mustang Mach-E, and NASCAR. Okay, man, yeah, make EVs exciting. Maybe we will. But I'd hate to see an EV crash
True.
at NASCAR because we already know how EVs do on the streets. So unless they, but the thing is, like they say, racing brings innovation. So who knows? When they add it into NASCAR, who knows? Maybe we might get a better battery crash brace structure or something, or who knows? Maybe they might even consider making like a cage or something for the battery, where it's like, hey, if the battery gets impacted here, it's protected. Like, maybe certain areas. This is a crucial area. We've learned from Teslas and other companies in road cars where they don't have the same restrictions as a road car. They can just add that here, and then maybe we can incorporate that.
Well,
That'd
engineers
be
do
good.
what engineers do. They do trick-ish, so they definitely got to do something along the lines of that. But
Yeah, that's cool.
that's definitely
Well,
cool. I like
In
to
that
see.
case, then, my last thing I'm gonna say is then all that means is so when Dodge gives us the official Wagoneer, the Jeep, I'm sorry, Jeep gives us the official Wagoneer,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Chrysler, if they're smart, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep. I know Dodge is supposed to be the racing brand, but if they don't give Dodge like a little EV SUV, they should just make a one. They if they want to be funny, we know they're not. They don't have the money to do it. They should make a Wagoneer EV race thing with like 1,500 horsepower just to be like, all right, guys, we joined the competition too. It'll be the battle of the big three EVs.
Yeah, right.
It'd be nice to see.
Right
Who knows?
now, I would say Ford is killing it as far as consumer EV for American brand. Not saying killing overall, but for
Yeah, yeah.
American brand. But Chevy's really pushing limits. That I'm really surprised they're going the route they're going with. Like that's ridiculous.
Hmm.
But hey, we'll see. Speaking of Chevy news, the ZR1 is killing lap records all around.
Expected.
Fucking let's read a little bit because they Motor Trend had the Z06 for a minute, but the ZR1 is killing. Let's see what the photo says. I'm trying to see if I could get it. Let's see.
I expected it to win.
Lap
Has a
record,
thousand
lap
horsepower.
record, lap record. They got 5 lap records. Let's see. more than 300. Well, blah, 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 blah. While starting at a price of $174,995, but it's cheap for that kind of performance. The five new
That's
U.S. lap
exactly.
records come from four different GM drivers. Bill Wise, lead performance engineer of chassis control, set a record of 1 minute 52.7-second lap time around Watkins Glen course. Drivers
So
Brian Wallace, lead vehicle dynamics engineer of the ZR1, set a record of 2 minutes and 8.6 seconds around Road America. The car zoomed around Road Atlanta with a 122.8, piloted by lead development engineer Chris Barber, and finally driver Aaron Link, global vehicle performance manager, managed to set two new records. He ran a time of 147.7 around Virginia International Raceway and also set a 2 minute and 32.3-second time around VIR's Grand Course. We know the new ZR1 has also been tested at the iconic German Nürburgring, which is sort of the international best mark track for performance vehicles to set comparative lap times. Though Chevy has yet to post the results for now, even as Crosstown Detroit's rival Ford has been ballyhooning its Mustang GTD's time. Still, it can claim it has dominated America as American supercar sweetheart. I have a problem with that last statement.
what do you not consider it a supercar?
No.
I was gonna say, well, I was gonna tell you, most people consider it a hypercar now. It's like it's technically a supercar already because now
I
people are
I
trying to
don't
say it's a
consider it a
hypercar.
supercar. I don't consider it a super. I did for a little bit, but then I remembered what a supercar was, and then I had to
But
retract my statement.
then, what do you consider a hypercar?
Huh?
And then, like, you know what I mean? So, like, if this car can hit hypercar speeds, do we not call it a supercar?
What are supercars then? By definition. By definition, what are like seriously? By definition, what are supercars?
You know, honestly, it's a good question. Actually, I never really thought about it like that. I'd consider a supercar to be something that's fast enough to go around a track at a certain speed. So, like, I would say, I mean, I don't know. Just I want to say alone. I mean, a supercar I'd consider like Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like the top of the line models and like Lambos. Alpha like an M20C. Uh, what else? LFA. You know what I mean? What else? I'm trying to think what else would be a supercar. Ford GT. Those type of cars I consider supercars, I guess.
So to me, supercars are lightweight, pushback technology, can have a crazy amount of power, a lot of technology in that transmission, a lot of innovative features, a lot of factors, a lot of it's more it's more than just power. That's my issue. Like, don't get me wrong,
So
power is a great staple, but there's power to weight, there's braking performance, there's aerodynamics, there's if coefficient of drags, there's efficiencies, there's downforce numbers, there's how fast the transmission shifts, even like there's composites, there's materials, there's R&D, there's time, there's money, there's one-off, there's rarity, there's a lot more things than just that. like like you said, Ferrari supercar, LFA supercar, like
do
Ford
you consider a
GT.
GTR a supercar?
No,
By definition, I looked up online, the GTR has been described as a modern supercar that delivers everyday practicality.
the car weighs
Do you
almost four
consider
thousand pounds. It's not a
do you
supercar.
consider the NSX a supercar?
I would say no, but it's tough to call it. It's a tough no, but I
What,
would say no.
okay, maybe you could probably consider the first generation. Maybe what about the second generation?
It's still a tough no. I no,
Okay,
the first
because
generation is not a supercar. It's just a sports car.
it says it matches contemporary European supercars in performance and features, but and the NSX was more reliable and user friendly.
I understand why people would think the GTR is a supercar, but to me it isn't because it's still a pork. It's a heavy twin turbo V6.
and then and then the hypercar, they really don't have an official definition from it, but they said usually, it's an extension of supercars, but usually cars that prices that exceed $1 million. And
Yeah, hypercars
those
goes
hyper
comes with a price.
yeah. So and that's what I was saying. The reason I was asking, I'm like, do you consider this supercar? Because the Corvette has kinda earned its
No,
ranking.
Corvette's not a supercar. Corvette's not a supercar. GTR's not a supercar. I don't care what anyone says.
Man,
If you consider the R35 a supercar, then you got to consider its predecessors a supercar as well. But they
I
weren't.
mean, they
They
weren't.
they're not. They're not. Like
They're not.
your
But
R34
then
GTR is
again,
a supercar. Please tell me. If you're telling me yes, you're wild.
it's not. But the thing is, it can beat a supercar. So by then,
I'm not saying it
by
can't. There's a difference. I'm not saying it can't be a super. I mean, it can't when you throw money at it. Don't get me wrong. On stock form, sometimes they can't. And I'm not saying they can or they can't, depending on the variables. But there's a lot more factors to a supercar. A lot more than a sports car. A sports car is a GTR. The
mm,
C.E. Corvette. It's a Mustang. It's a Camaro. Challenger, Charger. Supercar is for GT. LFA. LaFerrari. Aventador. Revuelto. Uh,
it's kind of
Aston
hard.
Aston Martin is more of a luxury sports car. Mercedes is a luxury sports car. The Aston Martin Valhalla is supercar slash. I think is more of a hypercar than a supercar. The Valkyrie, Valhalla is around that same territory. The Gordon Murray's what is it, T50 and T50S. They're, I would say, borderline hypercar. Regardless if he calls it a supercar, to me they're a hypercar. Um, there's just a lot more factors with those titles, and this, although the Corvette is blistering fast and they beat the McLaren Senna's time, I think I believe it was the Michelin Road Atlanta or Watkins Glen, one of the two. It's still not a supercar. The McLaren Senna is a track only, literally supercar, and this is a sports car.
Yeah, I got a list of supercars, but this is just one website. But like, yeah, this literally has every
Let's see.
cars in the supercar world database, if that's even real.
Audi R8 is debatable. I wouldn't call it that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is that. 4C is also debatable. The Giulia Quadrifoglio is not a supercar. You're out of your mind to call it a supercar. I'm serious. I'm being dead serious. Let's see how much it weighs just for shit and giggles.
Yeah, I don't consider that a supercar, but I get why they're trying to say it because it has good performance stats and all that.
3,800 pounds.
So,
No, you're out of your mind.
but
Alpine A110R. You can. I wouldn't even say that's a supercar, but you can make a debate. The
oh, this
Atom
is a nice
500.
website.
The Atom 500. No way. It's more like a go kart.
If you click on if you ever click on one of them, let's say you see a model that you're interested in, click on it. It'll tell you the rivals
The Aston
and
Martin
its
Valhalla.
variants and its
Definitely.
siblings.
The Audi RS3 is not a supercar. The Audi RS4 is not a super. All these Audis are not a supercar. What are you
I
talking
know.
about? These
Do me a
Romeo
favor, click on it.
these Romeos are not. These Alphas are not supercars. So, a few of these Aston Martins are supercars, but not all of them. What are they smoking? Bentley
A lot
is
of drugs.
a luxury sports car. The GT3R, you can make an argument that it's a supercar. The Bach Model R is a track car. It's literally a track, like it's not even sports or super. It's just like a track like F1 car. Any BMW is not a supercar. You are out of your mind to think so. Bugatti Veyron, you're damn near hypercar territory. I get that.
Nah, that's hypercar.
Yeah, you're damn near hypercar. I would say supercar, you're damn near hypercar. But any BMW on this list is not a supercar.
No,
No.
I think what it is though today is people just look at if they see a super like okay, they look at the performance. If the performance can rival a supercar, then I feel like that's when they're like, ah, why not call it a supercar?
So
Yeah,
if you're
I get what you're
calling,
saying by
they're calling all the M trims a supercar. In that case, the Supra is a supercar. You see what I'm saying? That makes no sense.
yeah.
Cadillac CN never came out. Could have been a supercar though. None of these Corvettes are supercars. None of these Dodges are supercars. The Viper V10 you can make
ZR1,
the Viper you can make an argument. The ZR1's not a
the new
supercar.
ZR1.
It's not a supercar.
Yeah, if it beats a Veyron,
Some of these Ferraris you can make an argument.
if the new Corvette can beat a Veyron, it's officially a
But
supercar.
that's all down to speed.
Like I'm saying handling too. Like not, I'm saying like track times, like not just speed, track
Yeah, but
times.
Blake, you gotta understand with supercars, there's just a lot more factors than just brake, suspension, engine, and trans.
Yeah, they change it. They got a mid-engine car now.
I
That's
understand.
no longer just like a
I
sports car.
understand they changed it, but that doesn't negate the fact that if it's not a supercar or not. Like for
Like
example,
I feel like
the 458 Italia is arguably one of the best sounding supercars. It's borderline a sports car, but it edges out as a supercar because of what it can do, what they put into it, and what it's built off of. You can make that argument. The Factory
see,
5 Racing GTM, that's a kit car,
but see,
but you can
one
make an
thing is
argument.
the Corvette though finally copies Ferrari. So it's like now it's like if they're not copying them, how are they not that now?
Now you gotta look at volume, you gotta look at production, and you gotta look at R&D time. If you're copying someone's homework, you barely spend any money. You're all you doing is researching.
Yeah, but now it's the same product essentially.
Now you're looking at the price. Instead of buying a Ferrari for $300,000 with all their R&D, you copy someone else's homework and charge a quarter of the price. Guess what? That reminds me of China copying America Japanese products and charging it for a quarter of the price. Do you consider those to still? If you're buying a bearing from America and a bearing from China and they're exactly the same, they literally copied America, but they charge 30 cents versus $2. This is the same case with the C8 Corvette and the Ferrari 458 Italia. Ferrari 458
See,
being three hundred fifty thousand dollars.
wait. You got something where you got something right there, but it's still a bearing. So that means it's still a supercar.
No, it's not a supercar. It's still a car. It's the title that it gets. It's a it's a cheap bearing versus a good quality bearing. There's a difference. The Ferrari is still a supercar, but the Corvette will always be a sports car.
I think you're gonna see this year the Corvette's no longer gonna be considered a sports car, and they're gonna have to bring back the Camaro. I don't know why they axed
You
it
know
off,
what?
but they're
I'll
gonna
give you
have to bring it back.
I'll give you this. The Corvette C8 is what? 3,800 pounds? C8 Corvette weight. 3,800 pounds. If they make that sub 32, 31, you got that debate.
But see, then again, but here's the thing: supercars don't even have a definition.
Supercars did have a definition, but it's vastly changed. But
Like you say,
we're not gonna ignore the rules that was set back then and the fact that they didn't follow it. They followed it. It's
like
just things change
see,
now.
what is a supercar? And I know this is just the AI bullshit, but I'm gonna keep scrolling down. But it says a supercar is a high-performance street legal car that's often expensive, flashy, and luxurious. Supercars are also known as exotic cars. Supercars can have 500 to 1,000 horsepower, precise handling, nice interiors, usually fewer than 4 seats. Top speeds are over 200 miles an hour and go 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds.
And guess what did that at the time? Let's say guess what did that in 2005, right? Let's just compare and contrast. So guess what did that in 2005? The Ford GT.
Yep, makes
Two
sense.
th- 2 years after its end of production in 2006, guess what came out? The GTR. You're gonna tell me
See,
just because the GTR is faster than the Ford GT in a 0 to 60 and at a quarter mile that it is a supercar by that standard? No.
yes, by that standard, yes. If you're
By the
talking by
stand
that
if
standard,
by the
specific, yeah,
standards that revolve around the supercar title, by the standards, not that standard, by the standards that revolve around a supercar title, you're telling me that a GTR is a better supercar, better it is a supercar over and has a better title over the Ford GT. No.
I could,
No.
I'll argue with that. I'd
No.
argue with that.
What?
I'd only argue with that because supercars often serve as the flagship model within a vehicle's manufactured sports car range, and the GTR is their flagship model. A supercar should be defined as at least being track centric, at least $100,000, somewhat rare, and stands apart from normal cars with speed and quickness. Now we start. Let's add that in there. If you say
All right,
the
hold on.
GTR doesn't
I
stand
got you.
apart, it doesn't stand apart. GTR doesn't stand apart from normal cars because I hate to say it, GTR can blend in to see a car. A ZR1 Corvette next to another regular Corvette is going to look exactly the same. So I guess that when you if you consider it like that, if it's not unique, one off, then yeah, for sure. Because that makes sense. Like right. For example, this post was on Reddit 4 years ago. What is a supercar for you? And it said this post is about what supercars can we use as daily drivers. It makes me wonder. Colossal people mentioned 911 or GTR, which I never heard of as a supercar. But then I realized I don't have a clear definition of what is or what is not a supercar. Where some people consider an R8 a supercar, but the mid-engine V8 Ferrari sometimes not. And he's like, the C8 is a bit on the fence now with mid-engine, but I always saw the Corvette called the sports car. And then the apparition of hypercars made it even more blurry. So he said, when does a car leap from sports car to supercar? Only thing I feel for sure is that I don't see a specific version of a model being a supercar and not others. So like how would a GT3 RS be a supercar if the base 911 is not one? And I'm like, I like that. I like that debate because it's it's kind of cool because it's like a GT3 RS is unique, but then it's still a 911, which is why I understand why you never put the GT3 RS on a pedestal. You're like it's a great car, it's a great performing car, does things well, but you never put it on like a pedestal saying it's like it's like a you know all out supercar. But
Exactly.
like you just said, you said wait. You keep saying wait, which is important. So this is one person said this. He said, and this 4 years ago too. This whole post is 4 years ago. He said performance per kilogram, so performance per weight or performance per ton, I should say,
Yeah.
and rarity and units made. Like for example, yeah, like if they only made like 500 GT3 RSs or if they only made like 500 ZR1s, then yeah, I guess you would say, okay, hey, this specific model, yeah, but if they just make a bunch of them, no, and then and cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then so one of those on their own doesn't give us a supercar, won't allow us to different, sorry, it won't allow us to differentiate, okay, I can't talk
That's fine.
right now, differentiate between models. And so then, so yeah, like someone said, I wouldn't consider a Luxor barge a supercar. So like,
So then, all
yeah,
right. Hold on. I
so
got you then.
you got a point. Well,
So then, I was gonna say explain something else, but if you say I got a point, then I'm not gonna argue anymore. But
no, go. I kind of like,
explain explain the like Factory 5 racing, like GT car, GTM supercar. It's a kit car
see,
that you could build in your garage, and you technically have a supercar. By the standards of the GTM kit car, as long as you have a Corvette donor, what does it do for numbers? Let's see. Just so we're on the same page, and I'm not like bullshitting. Learn more. chassis aluminum, has nasty ass suspension. It has
From the
some type
said,
of Porsche rear transaxle, cooling components, full exhaust, miscellaneous engine accessories, complete interior accessories, fasteners. What you need. What you need is a donor car from a C5 Corvette. Other parts needed. So I think this car weighs around. I can't. It doesn't really show me, but I have a feeling that this car weighs around 2,500 pounds. This thing could go over 200 miles an hour. Not a lot of
mm-hmm.
people buy this kit, but the kit's like $40,000, so it's relatively relatively affordable. Wow, I can't talk either. I just took whatever you got out of your tongue. So by the standards that it sets today, mid-engine, all that, the whole nine, it's the supercar. It's supercar like, but is it a supercar?
So I kind of want to add to this. We should now say these cars they have supercar performance, but they're not supercars. Yes, they're sports cars with supercar performance now. That's
There
what it
you
is.
go.
They're not
I
they're not
understand that.
considered.
I understand that.
That's what we should that and then that's what most people because I think the thing is most people think supercar they're looking at it as one thing. They're not looking at the weight. They're not looking at the performance. They're looking at just one thing like oh weight car or they're looking at performance. Oh, it's supercar or handling. Oh, this handles like a supercar. So like that's kind of why I feel like why most people not only get that confused, but because of that. And two, we have so many cars now that like they keep pushing the edge. Like back then, and you know, what I mean, the F1 was like the pinnacle
Ah,
of automotive engineering,
here we
and
go.
now we have a lot of cars that are able to, start catching up to that type of performance.
All right, here we go.
Just like we even got the C8.
I got you right here. In this spec from Factory 5, it comes with a Chevy LS7, which we all know comes with a C6 Corvette, but you could use the C5 parts, but obviously we know that's a 427 titanium rods. You know that the motor alone is I think supercar worthy. The engine because the engine's nasty. Makes a little over 500 horsepower, 475 foot-pounds of torque. Red lines to 7,000. We know the specs of the LS7. Weighs 2,435 pounds. Mid-engine rear-wheel drive, 6-speed manual with a final drive of 3.44 to 1 limited slip. Overall height, 42.5 inches, close to the GT40, the old one at least, not the new one, or even the 2004 to 2006 run. Front track 60, rear track 62, relatively close. Overall length 171, nice and compact. Wheelbase 101 inches, got damn near close to a Miata. No, actually not close to a Miata, but it's closer to a lot of cars than most. By those standards alone, supercar like, but is it a supercar?
I feel like they're gonna consider it a supercar for the performance you're gonna get, and because of the weight, it's not using a supercar. How do I call it? It's not. It might not be as over engineered as what some people might classify as a supercar. But I do want to say this. I have to say the Corvette, just like maybe like a Dodge Demon, like a Challenger Demon,
Mm-hmm.
people would consider a Demon a supercar, even though a Demon can't handle. It only goes straight line.
Oh, here we
That's just
go.
a super drag
The
car.
the hard numbers. Before I don't want to cut you off. I'm just gonna say this one more time because this is the
But
last part of this section. 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. 0 to 100 in 6.6. Quarter mile time in 11 at 132. The GTM is faster than notable supercars like a Dodge Viper, the Porsche GT, a Celine twin turbo S7, and Ford GT. I will only could I don't I because to me this is still a kit car. I will only consider this a supercar if this was a manufacturer.
so in that case, I have to tell you the Corvette has graduated with the C8 generation from sports car to supercar territory. It's
No,
a contender now.
no,
It's now a contender.
no.
It has
Blake,
to be.
it's not like a sport. It's not like a sports car can't beat a supercar. But that still doesn't define that it's a supercar.
Well, that's the thing. A base Corvette, I'm gonna say, is a sports car, right? I'm saying like I'm talking C8. I'm not talking C6, C5, C4, C3.
You
Only
just made a great comment. That right there. Say that again. Say that again. A base C8 is a
okay.
what?
A base C8 is a sports car.
There you go. That's all I
So
needed to
that's
hear.
all I'm saying.
That's all I needed to hear. If the base
A
C8 is a
Z06,
base C8 is a sports car, the body is that is a sports car no matter what you throw
but
at it.
but the ZR1, but the ZR1 is considered, and the Z06 and the ZR1 are considered
No,
supercars
they're not.
because of
They're not.
they have different transmissions, more powerful engines. The numbers they put down on the track. I'm just reading what's on the internet. No name. I'm reading everything.
I disagree with
All the
you.
discussion.
I only disagree with you because of the standards and specifications. And you said it
Like
yourself.
I'm reading
The
it.
base
This is
C8 is a sports car. If the
hey.
base skeleton is a
Mhm.
sports car, that tells me everything I need to know about any trim, about whatever. I could go buy a base C8 Corvette twin turbo it, make that horsepower, hire or like Kyle like hired aerodynamicists like Cars Engineering or Veerus Engineering up in Indiana, stuff like that. Build me the most craziest aero package, find a way to shove 400 pounds out of it. Then at that point, I built myself a supercar. But it doesn't gain a title because the manufacturer didn't do it. I did it. The C8 Corvette still weighs a lot.
No, it does. It does. Hey, look. I'm just reading because this is debate right now. Everybody's saying it. Is the C8 a Corvette? Is the C8 Corvette a sports car, or is this a supercar?
Sports car.
And some people say, hey, it's a sports car, but it has now entered supercar territory, being mid-engine now. And
It's
all I'm
entered the
saying is,
territory, but it doesn't
it's
have the
it's
title. It doesn't have the title.
hey, hey, that's okay. It's okay. Once it beats everybody, people are gonna have no choice but to respect it. It's the only way they're gonna give it. It's
I'm
gonna
not.
get
I'm not gonna.
honorary. It's gonna get honorary supercar. That's what it's gonna get. It's gonna get honorary supercar.
I'm not. I'm not saying I disrespect the seed. Like that's a wild animal. You copy someone else's homework, but that's a wild animal. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's not a great sports car. The Z06 is a great sports car. The ZR1, although it's
No.
batshit
Let's say this.
bananas.
Let's say this. It hit the pinnacle of sports car, and now it's starting to cross over into the boundaries of supercar. But yes, it's still missing some components that would make it consider like if it was all carbon fiber, and you know what I mean, like they did some more like special things. Like let's say the Z06 actually was more special. Like you know what I mean, like it had a different body, and I know there's some different things on it. Who knows? You might find out there's more different things on it. Than, as time, or I mean the ZR1 too. Sorry, we might find out there's more different things, but yes, it's not a supercar. It's really just a super sports car. But you might be able to take down some supercars, and you might make them feel bad about spending three
and
figure. I mean,
and that's fine.
three times as much.
That's fine as long as we know that it's not a supercar. In order, you know what? I'll say it like this. I'll say it like this. In order for it, the manufacturer, right, for it to
Mm-hmm.
be a supercar, they can't call it a Corvette.
Because I mean, because think about it too. Older Corvettes are considered muscle cars. If you think about it, they weren't even considered sports cars.
Even
Like C3.
even the newest one with the LT2 is still technically a muscle, but it's a muscle sports car. They just added sport in front of it. It's still a muscle car because it has a lopey V8 that with the LT2 engine, but it's a
I'll
muscle
say,
sports car.
yeah, I'll say yeah. But I say once it went mid engine, that's when it went straight sports car. Just like Mustang went from being straight
The
muscle car with its rear axle,
Did
solid
we
rear axle,
forget?
and
Wait, hold on,
everything.
hold on, hold on. Did we forget about the C7, C6, and C5? They're mid
Yeah, those
V8.
are
They're mid engines.
no,
They're
those are
just in the
front
front.
engine.
They're behind the axle line. Did we
Yeah, it's
forget
still front
about that?
engine.
I Yeah,
But
it's
like,
front mid engine. I get it, but did we forget that that's still a mid engine?
yeah, but the thing is with those platforms is like again, as a Corvette guy, they ran out of platform. Like
They did.
they hit the
I
limit.
agree.
They were like
They did,
literally like they were like we can't put any more power down without this thing getting dangerous on the track. Like
which is
literally,
fine. I
like
get it. That
they're
makes
like we want to
sense.
go faster, and then so they changed it, and that's why I'm like I don't. That's why I'm like I understand why people are like well, the new Corvette. It's a different formula. You know what I mean? It's not what it used to be. It's not like how before it's like yeah okay we made a nice platform. Okay, can handle good,
And
can
but that's
turn.
fine. I don't mind the change. I get it. It makes sense. You are right. It in every sense of the term, they had to do something else.
Hell, I'll definitely call the Corvette a muscle car, especially because why? It had a leaf spring front. It had a leaf spring for the front suspension.
At one point, yes.
Yeah, the C5 and C6 they had the transverse leaf spring. So um, that's definitely muscle car. That's why I'm like
Wait,
they technically have
the C
improved it.
six? No,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm searching this up now.
yes,
You intrigued.
yes,
You piqued my interest.
yes. That's why I'm like to me I'm like the Corvette was a muscle car, then a sports car, and that's why now I'm like are they finally graduating? You know what I mean? Like because I'm like okay, because I mean they've been adding some cool innovation. And yes, once I found out that they had a leaf spring, let's just say I wanted one, and then I'm like, I don't know if I really want one as much anymore. You get what I'm saying?
Oh wow!
Yeah, I know,
What?
I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. And then it makes you say, hey, they were able to make this thing handle like that. How? And that's what I said. It's impressive. It blew my mind to the point. That's why I said I'm like, do we really need all this advanced stuff? And that's why I'm like, the Corvette's been trying to do stuff with the simplest technology but like basically extracting the most
Wow!
performance out of
People do coilovers and take that shit out, but that's quite
it.
surprised.
See, I seen it, and when I saw that, I was like, I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of cool to know that the leaf spring was able to actually do all that, and then also gave me an idea of if I ever see a wrecked Corvette or something,
Well, let me see the
take the front end.
C6.
Yeah,
Oh
C6 improved
wow,
on it.
Lee Spring too.
Yep. I don't know if the C4 had it. I think it was just the C5 and C6.
Well, let's see. Well, I'm already here.
Yeah, I don't,
Yes, C4.
C4 too.
Uh huh. You know what? We're gonna go back. C3. Yep. All right. Hold on. So basically, anything. You know what? Now we know. Let's go C7.
Yeah. The
This.
C7, I think they finally was like the first. That's why I'm like the C7 was completely different. When I seen it, I'm like, is that a Corvette? I'm like, it looks like a Camaro,
So they made
Camaro
an
vet.
independent rear suspension with a leaf spring that bolts on both. That is dumb but smart.
Like I get the concept, right? I get exactly. It's like you get it. You're like, that's stupid, but then you're like, huh, well, I guess it works.
Front
Very
only central
interesting.
matter rear spring did not have. C7 had it.
C7 too.
Oh. It says
C7
C.
too.
It says C5 to C7 front. Hold on.
Oh shit.
To have any roll effect. That's okay. So that's why I said it's dumb but smart because
Yeah,
it does add
it
an anti
doubles.
roll effect with the.
Yeah,
It acts like
it
another
doubles as a
sway
sway
bar
bar.
without the sway bar. It still has a sway bar,
Yep.
but it acts like another sway bar because you're bolting. It's one big leaf spring. You're bolting two to the main chassis. You let the other two control. Okay, dumb but smart.
Hmm.
That's why people take
Impressive.
them out and just put lighter coilovers on it. That's why it can handle like a bass.
Yep.
Oh wow, wow,
Yep.
yeah, leaf
That's
spring.
why I'm like, that's why I'm like the Corvette. I'm like, they've been trying with the C8. Like the C8 kind of was. That's why I'm like, I've heard some like in the Corvette forum, and I heard some people will be like, I hate the C8. I love my C7. I love my C6, C5, and I'm like, I get it. There's probably something different
Old
about driving it, but
technology, old
I'm like
technology.
exactly. I'm like, welcome to the modern. This is the 2020 Corvette. That's what I feel like. This is the Corvette in the 2020s now. Like this is the modern era Like, you know
Of
what I mean? Even
course.
though I know it came out before that, but like this is them trying to say, hey, we're no longer like this little joke anymore. We want people to take it serious.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I'm hoping Chevy doing that because we already know Ford's big in racing. We know Dodge wanted to race, but they got disqualified way back, and Dodge has been like this lost kind of like company.
Well,
So
they've
I'm
been drag
hoping that,
racing, so
yeah, with me, yeah, true. And they let us have our street legal drag cars. So hopefully Ford getting into all these racing events again, IMSA, Le Mans, everything, and
now they're
was
in
it the
F1 next
W
year.
exactly in F1, and then now Chevy getting back into everything. Hopefully that makes them all get back into like racing because I feel like yeah, I mean we used to watch our American brands race
Of
and like
course.
you know what I mean and then it would be nice to see them go compete against the world and the Germans and the Japanese. But we all know like yeah they win they have different classes they all pick their classes and they're all trying to win. So it'd be nice to see because then we know at least we're gonna get some good products out of this. Like
Of course. No, I'm ready for it,
CR1.
but it's still not a supercar. That's
I
all I'm saying.
I could agree. I could agree it's not a supercar.
It's still not a supercar. I don't care
It's
what
not
anyone
a
says.
supercar, but I don't be surprised if you see it updated this year, like later on this year in the definition, like Webster's dictionary. Don't be surprised if you see
They
Corvette
could
added.
upgrade it all they want. Still not a supercar. And since we
Eh,
and since we were comparing kit cars, what do you think about kit cars?
He's younger. I like them. I don't know. Today, I'm a little indifferent to them now. Really, today I just look at them. Some of them just looks cheap. That's why. So unless it's like an expensive kit car, maybe it's like good and like
Mm.
a good chassis donor.
Factory Five's an
Yeah, but
example.
most of it's a good example, but it's gonna sound crazy because like a kit car, I almost still feel like a kit car is still being bought versus built. Like even though you're building it,
You're
it's
buying the
weird.
pieces, yeah, but
Like
it's
I don't
really
know.
built. You're building it. You're building a
I
car
mean, I
from the
mean,
ground up.
I just prefer. You know what I prefer? I honestly prefer an OEM car. I'll tell you why. My issue is you can build some nice kit cars. Let me say that. Let me stop before I say what I want to say. You can build some really nice kit cars. However, my issue with some of the kit cars today is the fit and finish on some of them isn't the best. If you don't have the best builder, then you're dealing with issues. You're always chasing an issue.
Hmm.
So you could buy a car, you have the warranty, and you're fine, and then you can modify it. Or yeah, if you're risky, don't mind tearing into your products and don't care for warranty and don't mind troubleshooting,
Hmm.
you can build a nice kit car. You can build a nice performing kit car. You might outperform OEMs and everything else, and you could probably put a better interior in. Just be ready to spend some money.
Hmm.
That's all. That's all I have to say. Just be ready to spend a little bit of money versus going to the bank, financing it all, and then walking out. Not saying you can't finance a kit car, it's what we have credit cards for, but still, like, yeah, there's pros and
I
cons.
personally like them. I like certain ones.
I'd have to look up some. I haven't. So my thing is, I'm not really well versed on them because the ones I've seen in the past were always for like Fiats,
See, now that's the problem. It's because
MR2s.
you're
You know what I
stuck.
mean?
You're stuck with what happened in the past, but not what's happening in the last
Yes.
10 years,
That's
10,
why.
15
Yeah, I
years.
haven't seen any modern kit cars. I probably like. I even see the Vela one, which was that the G37 or G35 one that the Infinity was like the
Well,
Infinity kit car.
well, here we are, the Factory Five. Their supercar right here, GTM. This shit's nasty.
Well, well, well. Is that the little frame cage that it comes with?
Yeah, and then, like I said, it weighs 20, like less than 2,500 pounds with the engine and everything in it. You got that. You got. They have other cars too. They have the 818 with the Subaru EJ platform as a mid-engine. They have the XTF truck, which is based off the Ford F-150. The Type
Saw that.
65, which is based on the Shelby Coupe.
You know what? I just went on their website and I saw the XTF and I was confused for a second. I was like,
The hot rod truck, the Roadster, the OG Shelby. It's a kit car. Don't get me wrong. It's like, but they do a pretty good job, I think, as far as what they're doing. Look at that, 9 Tone Road, Wareham, Massachusetts.
there's no way.
Seriously,
Wow.
because they
That'll
wait.
actually make me support them.
The way they started
Just
up was they needed like a bread and butter, so they needed to build a kit car, but with something that already exists. So they did the whole C5 Corvette, which is the GTM supercar, and they've updated it over the years. And they did something similar with the 8018, but with the Subaru EJ, something more affordable. You know, that's their bread and butter. Because I think these kits are like this kit in particular is $10,000, and you just find a rack to like WRX or whatever, and boom, you got yourself a
you
nice
serious?
mid-engine track car. No, I'm serious. Yeah. Let me see. Order a kit.
Did that say
Configure.
B18B? No man.
Let's see.
I
No,
thought I saw something that said B18, like it was a Honda. Oh no, never mind.
no, there's no Honda, but let's see. Learn more. Yeah, kit starts at 11.9, so $12,000 if you're doing the A1AR. But if you're doing like something regular, like let's see, the A with the coupe version, let's say 13.9, and the Sportster 10.9.
All right. Huh?
So and you find yourself a wrecked WRX, throw everything in there, call it a day. This one you could use the seats from the WRX, you could use the steering wheel from the WRX, you could use the electronics, you could literally swap everything over. Steering wheel, everything, the center console for the WRX, everything. You can swap everything over from the WRX if it's wrecked. If you find a wrecked one for like $1,000 or something, like $500. This one's a little different. They built their own interior. You just need the engine and trans and stuff. But this is one of many examples, and I just figured I was gonna ask the next question after this is what is your favorite kit car? But before I ask that question, now that you see this, what other cars did not like as far as kit cars? Like what were their companies and stuff?
Baylor, the one that made like they said the one for like the G37s, the 35s,
Oh
where
yeah.
they'd flip the tail light upside down and then do like the headlights and use Chevy Cruze headlights.
Uh huh.
Um, the Fiat ones, the ones that would take like a old wrecked Mustang and like because my thing is those cars they were old, so like, you put those old components and they just don't look good anymore.
Yeah, of course.
So that's kind of why I didn't like kit cars. But like if it's based on a modern car, that's a little different. Yeah, like I'm gonna say that it probably would be a bit more comfortable and livable and aesthetically pleasing. But some of the older ones, where like you had to source custom switches, or you maybe had to make it work, or you're like, okay, I'm using this Ford switch, which doesn't blend with the interior now, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Or I'm using this Chevy switch. So it's like, yeah, now you're looking to try to put in aftermarket switches from something else. So it's like, yeah, that's kind of why I didn't really like them. So I really don't have a favorite one, but since you showed me this Factory 5, and only because they're based in Mass, I like them.
It's the Fiero Ferraris. Well,
Yeah, they're based in Mass, so I'm like, hey,
there's also other ones. There's my favorite that I'll probably look into more is the
fake
Aeromeister
Ferraris.
based out of Bulgaria, but there's other ones like the DF Goblin based on the Chevy SS. They don't build them anymore, but it's based on the Chevy Cobalt to make it a mid-engine car. And then
What?
The Goblin V2 uses the Mark 7 Volkswagen Golf.
What?
Yeah, you just
That's
build your own car. You just build your own car, man.
what?
They have the Ultima RS, the LMP style car. Uses the you could use any LS engine, but they use the LT5. But it's just nice.
Interesting.
It's like a supercar almost. It's borderline supercar. Like it's without the manufacturer, supercar.
Nice.
Wing, body, interior, has AC, all that stuff. If it uses the LT5, it does a 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds. It does a 0 to 100 in 4.8. If you use the LT4, it does a 0 to 60 in 2.5. If you use the LT1, it does a 0 to 60 in 3. The LS3 does a 3.3. The weight, depending on options, is 930 kilograms, so that's a little over 2,000 pounds.
Hmm. Not bad.
Uses a Porsche 6-speed manual transaxle.
Not bad. Not bad.
But look at this bugger. I think it's based out of Great Britain, but they do have a facility in USA. Yeah, Ultima RS is available in the USA now, but they used to be out of United Kingdom. Hinkley Leicester.
Hmm.
But this was another GT car along with the super light
I used to
cars.
hate those lights. How like they all most of these kit cars always had like similar lights, but I guess that's just the racing style headlight. Like is used in like
So
most of those
these so these two compete with
events.
each other a lot. The super light car from SLC, this is an American brand, versus the Ultima RS. But the
Hmm.
Ultima RS I think is better designed, but the SLC is more raw. I would say it's a nice car though.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong. Both two seaters, which I'm surprised you can still fit two people in there. Just the design of it overall, I like everything lift up, Lamborghini like. But
Yeah.
the SLC is another company that builds cars. They are based out of Fraser, Michigan.
Hmm.
They have the SLC, which is the one I just showed, that is bat-ish insane. I think it's better looking as far as angle if they depending on the angle of attack. It's more Corvette
Hmm.
esque, and they've been building it for a while
I
now.
like this. Yeah, I like this better. I how like so. For example, the other one, the headlights are like so like upright. It almost
Yeah,
looks like.
but Ultima RS is
But
more like Le Mans type, like it's like Le Mans prototype type. But the Superlight also has other cars, like the Le Mans style, which is based off the SLC.
that's not
The
bad.
the GTR, which is based off the Ford GT40. You could build your own GT40, knock off GT40, which is hilarious. I think one of I think one of the movies used this company to build their car so that they could crash it, so that they didn't feel bad about crashing all those cars. The
Yeah,
Moab,
like a real GT.
the off-road bugger,
Hmm.
and then customer galleries, which is just they're nice. Don't get me wrong. I personally like them. I wouldn't know which one I would pick. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't know if I like the straight edge of this. I'm not a big fan of the headlight selection, the way it wraps around, but I do like the fact that it's more sleeker. But the Ultima RS is a lot more smoother. But I'm not a fan of a couple other things on here.
I kind of, but see, the more I look at the headlight, I kind of like it, like at that angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I understand this is what most of those cars, this is what most of them look like headlight wise and stuff. That's one reason why I didn't like. I always like how I'm just on a little partial to how like the OEM designs now have come so far.
Hmm.
But then again, I know what these cars are. These are like legit. These supposed to be like race cars. So like they have to
Well,
have
they're
that type
also
of look.
street legal, which is the best part. You can make them street legal. They're
Yeah.
definitely street legal in Florida.
Mm. Of course. What isn't it?
But yeah, like Porsche 6 speed. Well, the one I'm looking at a lot right now, I mean the Mevabusa, which is a two-seater car with a Hayabusa engine in the back that weighs like 840 pounds.
840. Yeah, that's worth it. This is what I'm talking about.
Go
This
kart
is
for the
unique. This
road,
is what catches your eye. This right here will be parked next to all those other cars, and this is gonna take all the attention right here.
and you can turbo it. They don't build the kit
So
though anymore. That's
yeah,
in
that makes
January
sense.
2013. But the one I'm looking at is from Bulgaria, and it's based off the old Bentley LMP car that won his class. That iconic teardrop shape.
Okay, okay.
Look at that
I see it.
teardrop. Oh,
I see it. I see it.
for $35,000, that's not bad.
And that's what I'm saying. I realize most of these cars have a similar look because it's about aerodynamics, and this is the best that they've come
Curb
up with
weight
so
a
far.
1,089 kilograms, so you're looking at probably 2,300 pounds with the engine.
See, everything's LS based.
Well, you could. So this
You
company,
can, I know you can put
they
whatever you
do
want, but yeah,
LS for people who want a base reference, but this company actually uses a lot of Audi 4.2s and the 3-liter supercharged.
ew. I like the 4.2, but yeah.
What's wrong with the 3-liter supercharged? That's not bad.
So you gotta do maintenance on it and take the supercharger off.
I would take that supercharger off and twin turbo it.
And then you gotta do maintenance because it needs a valve cover gasket. You gotta take the whole supercharger off, and
Yeah, but
then
look at that bugger. Oh man, with the Bentley livery. And the best part is with this one, you can configure it to two-seater or one-seater. Oh, guess what I'm doing? By myself.
I see it. That's nice.
Because they
Oh,
built
I
a
see
lot
it
of
there. He
they built a
sculpted it.
lot of
Oh,
kit
what's this?
cars. They built a lot of kit cars in Bulgaria.
What is this? What's that supposed to do?
That's the kit car. That's based off. Literally, they just like copying homework off the Bentley LMP car. They tweaked it so it's 80%. They say it's 80% similar to the Bentley LMP car.
Hmm.
You can add your own air ducts here and stuff like that as a
So I
tubular
wonder.
chassis.
I wonder. Oh, okay, there it is. I was gonna say I wonder how the suspension
Look at
geometry,
that
like
right
if they
there.
kept it similar, the same. Audi.
That's that's nice though. That's nice and compact.
Yeah, it is.
I'll take that supercharger off, put a single turbo right here, make the exhaust ports go up, have a blast.
I don't know. I mean, I know those Audi engines can handle boost,
Was
so
it a Hollinger? Yeah, it's a Hollinger transaxle.
I know those Audis can handle boost pretty good. But
Oh yeah, look. Jesus Christ. That's nice.
mhm.
They do it all in CAD and stuff. You could have it with the mono. What is it? The center lock wheels. That is the. Is that a Hemi?
LS.
Maybe. I've never seen the coil packs on like that before.
Is that an Audi V8? It looked like Audi. It could be Audi
Maybe it might be the
4.2.
Audi V8. Yeah, the 4.2. But they use a lot of Audi engines. Is what I'm trying to tell you,
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's probably Audi 4.2. I know the heads look like that.
dude, man.
Hmm, not
This
bad.
this look at that single seater. This particular kit car, I'm looking into. Maybe, maybe.
Not bad.
Because they also build an off-road car like this with Formula One side AirPods, which is interesting.
What the what?
See, like a straight
What is
off-road
that?
boom, boom, boom.
I'm conf that thing looked like it looked weird. That looked weird.
Let me go to
But
their thing. Hold on. Kit info development.
that one looked weird.
Right here.
Oh,
You
I
know,
don't know. I feel like they
Sofia,
need to change the
Bulgaria.
shape. I feel like something's wrong with it. It looks the
But
Bentley one's nice, but that off road one, they gotta rework that or something. Too
I
much.
wouldn't mind having one of those. I'll tell you that much.
Hmm.
The Aeromeister.
Audi, BMW, or LS can be fitted, no problem.
Mm-hmm. There's either the Ultima RS. I'm probably leaning towards the Ultima RS, but it'll be that or the Aeromeister, like the LMP car.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't mind the SLC. But to me, it's a little edgy. A little edgy. But I do like it, though.
Not bad.
Alrighty. And that will be it. Besides Cletus McFarland's speech after the NASCAR race, that'll be it. That was hilarious. You seen that?
No, I didn't get to see that.
Oh damn. Yeah, we'll talk about it next time then. 'Cause it was hilarious. He was like, I was going on like a bat out of hell, and I'm glad I avoided a crash. Like everything he said looked like it could basically be a statement and put on a shirt, and he could sell them as shirts. Everything he said, it was hilarious. Let you watch that for next time.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it right after this.
Fucking hilarious. But all right, y'all, we 2.5 hours in. That was a good one. Didn't want to make it three, but we could have. But nah. But for today's
Yeah,
topics, let's wrap it up. Dodge CEO trying to make a 30K less than 30K sports car like the Neon SRT, like the Caliper and such. Mustang GTT owners can't sell their cars for 2 years. Typical Ford. Don't I don't agree with it, but Ford is Ford. They do what they want. The Chevy
yeah,
Blazer EVR going 1,300 horses on three six-phase motors. That's wild. Chevy is on some crack. I don't know what they're doing, but they're like, power, go, 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 go. And they're showing Ford
hmm,
and your boys at Dodge how to do it.
yep. Keep
The sh-
making power.
I unfortunately work for a Stellantis company, so I can't talk mad shit about it. But Alpha Alpha,
They also make power too.
that 690T, yeah, I found an engine for like 4 grand. I was like, ooh, maybe I'll get it. Who knows? But along with Chevy making 1,300 horsepower, this new ZR1 breaking 5 lap records. But besides the ZR1 breaking lap records, the next topic
It's just gonna
was
graduate to a supercar.
nope. The politics behind EV and the possibility of a $1,000 tax. Our hot take to wrap it up on kit cars and where they stack up against the competition, especially now that we were talking about supercars to see how that went. I still don't agree that the Corvette C8 is a supercar, but most people would actually say it is, which is to me is dumb. But I can have my
It's
opinion,
not.
I can have my
It's
opinion,
not.
and so can they. So it is what it is. I still don't think it's a supercar, but it is what it is. If you're saying the base C8 is a sports car, then anything after that is a sports car. And if you're making it a supercar, you're not gonna call it a Corvette because you're gonna have to have a limited run, like the LFA.
Eh,
No,
eh,
no.
you can have. I mean, okay, yes, you do need a limited run, but I ain't gonna say none because you do need a limited
Uh,
run.
okay, if you say so. But that is it. I'm your host, Sir Blakey Blake. Held on while he can, although he's battling sickness. As you can see,
Yes.
he looks like what is it? What's his name? Fucking Bill Belichick with the hood on. Fucking hell. Trusting the hoodie. Trusting the
gotta have,
hoodie.
gotta have the hood on.
Emperor Palpatine over here. Fucking heck.
Yeah, you gotta stay warm, stay clean.
Alright. But I'm your host. And we'll catch y'all later. I don't know how many times I said I am a host, but I'm going to say it again. I am your host. We'll catch y'all
And I'm
later.
me.
Of course. He said, "Rock on." You look at that. Crazy. Peace, yo.
Yep.